Hello, it's me again today on another Monday, which comes most times 4 times a month, I think, but other times less, maybe sometimes more. Uh, Hi, I'm here again to talk about War Thunder and maybe other things, depending on what people would like to talk about. I hope it's all going well. Um, I have my tea today in a, well, not really a new mug, but it's a different mug. Usually it's one that doesn't really react very well with the green screen, but this one is, you know, okay, it's good enough. You can also write on it in chalk, so you know it's fine. How's everyone doing? How it going? You forgot to brush your hair. That's very funny. I never brush my hair. I don't think I've ever owned a comb. No, I did, but my hair is unbelievably thick, so it just breaks the teeth of the comb. So I just give up. No point. Thank you, Verizon, for the funny original egg comment there. That's really good. That means we're off to a good start. I also have this backup beverage here as well. You know, for the vampire memes. No, not really. It's just, for energy and hydration and that kind of thing. So you get it. I hope everyone is doing well today on this Monday, one of the first Mondays of the month. Not the first one though, but one of them. So yeah, what's up? Hello there, Kyle. I am doing just fine today. I think I'm quite tired though, but that's sort of perpetual. Not much you can do about that. Hope you're doing well. Since when are you playing War Thunder? I had an account in the beta with a friend, but it was like a joint account, and he changed the email and everything. I don't have that one anymore. But the account I use, I think, was made in early 2013. I've played pretty consistently since then, amounting to a embarrassingly long amount of time. Um, so yeah, I've played a lot until a few updates ago. I had all the vehicles spaded. Um, I think it was only in the last like 2 or 3 updates I kind of lost out and haven't really managed to play them very much since, like the new dreadnoughts and stuff. But yeah, I've played a lot of this game, and I like it very much. And now I'm here. Um, as tired as the server hamsters, probably. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. I'm not can't really recall what the issue has been. It's just sort of general. I think a lot of other systems were having it as well. I know Steam had some issues as well, and one other platform did. From what I understand, it wasn't really to do with the Operation Summer. I don't believe there's a correlation there. I'm not the most informed person in the world on this, so maybe that's completely wrong. But it was a sort of quite a wide issue, I think. But yeah, hopefully there'll be less of that going forward. Hello, Mars. Afternoon. Afternoon to you. Is it afternoon? Yes, it is. Of course it is. Hmm. Is it possible to get keys for crates from playing the game? Not right now. I think there's no way to do it right now. Um, I think on console you can buy them with G, but if you're on PC, there's nothing you can do, unfortunately. Um, what's your win rate? I don't know. It's like things. My win rate's not as good as it could have been if I just played like really meta stuff. Because I think in RB I've spent like over 30 days of time like spading bombers and getting like all the camos for bombers and stuff. So there are lots of games where I'm pretty much useless. So that's dragged everything down a bit. Um, but yeah, it's decent. I think with a few vehicles, like if I'm playing stuff and I want to win games, it usually goes pretty well. But not always, but sometimes. Can we play together? Maybe at some point in the future. I don't really play with many people. I play on lots of different accounts to be all secretive and stuff. Not really for any particular reason. I just sort of I like being anonymous, I guess. Well, that would be a particular reason, so it doesn't really count. Um, can you say? I don't know if I can say that physically, and if I want to, it might mean something crass. And of this, I can't risk that. Brush your hair? No, I certainly won't. Um, what's your most played vehicle? I don't know actually. I think my most played tank is the Object 268. I can't remember why, but yeah, I don't know why. I just think I quite liked it. It's a bit of a strange vehicle at the time. It wasn't very good when it first came out, but it's pretty good now. I quite like that. I don't know what my other ones are. I'll have to think or check later on which I can do. Yes. Did you eat that word with sweet mustard? I don't think so. I haven't really had lots of food here. Yeah, just sort of normal stuff like bread and some toast occasionally, and that does me fine. Uh, what's up, Oxy? Not much. Just doing this currently. Very nice though. Having a good time, even though we've just begun. Really, a few minutes in. I need some more of this. I must wake myself. Do you own jets? Yes, I do. Apartment tour when? I don't know. I don't know how. I think I might be moving soon actually into a new one. So maybe we can do that. I'm not sure. Potentially. Is the Ag Tiger still good at its BR? Well, it's good where it is, but it has quite limited potential because of what it is. Um, the long reload and like the poor mobility, especially from the side. I mean, heat and everything. It's never really going to be exceptionally strong. In the right situation, it can be pretty good, but I don't really think it's a priority vehicle anymore. To get back in the day, it was really really strong, but yeah, now not to the same extent, but it's still really usable. Very usable. Um, is it deliberate that some vehicles are significantly louder than others? Don't believe so. I mean, I think it's just based on the engine sounds they use. Some engines might be louder than others, and I think it sort of comes down to that. I don't believe there's any other sort of reason for that. Um, will you give us an overview on the event vehicles this Thursday? Potentially, yeah. If everything's ready, we can. No promises yet though, but we very well may be able to. Very well may be able to. Um, I played War Thunder for 3 years and quit yesterday. Very well. I hope that was the right decision for you. I hope you can enjoy something else a bit more. That would be very nice. Are we going to see EC realistic battles again? Probably quite infrequently. I don't know really if they're going to be something that's very very frequent. But they'll probably be around again at some point. Not sure when though, but maybe. Paul, not yet. I don't think they're ready yet, but we can show stuff potentially on Thursday when we have the regular stream. But I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see. I must leave now. Good luck with the stream. Thank you. I hope whatever you're leaving to do is nice. What to do when I'm addicted to War Thunder? Um, well, I mean, if it's having a negative effect on you, perhaps take more breaks. I mean, it's not a good thing to be addicted to any game, really. I mean, you know, I like War Thunder a lot. I think you should play it a lot, but not if it's hurting you in any way. That would be bad. Go do other stuff, whatever that may be. Um, what did you think about the VB10? I don't hate it really. I didn't like it when it first came out, but I quite they're not really that bad. I mean the armament, it has the armament set up in such a way that well, what I usually do for aircraft with wing armament is if I'm in a head-on, I'll turn the plane sideways because it sort of creates a harder area of impact to dodge, and the VB10 is really 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 good for that. I quite like in that regard. It's deceptively agile as well. The early one especially, but yeah, you can do a lot of good stuff with that with some decent flat management and like full elevator authority. You can, it's pretty good. I don't think they're vehicles that are necessarily very easy to play. They're hard to like consistently excel in, but in the right spot, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I like it. Um, have you ever been in a real tank? I have. Yep, I've been in a couple. I went in the Stug 3D at the War and Peace show. That was quite nice. Got a mug with that on as well. Met the guy who's restoring it. Pretty good. Hang on. The Horizon, I mean, I think people really underestimate what that thing can do with good flat management, and if you're at a decent speed. I mean, I remember like consistently outturning one and nines in it, like kind of easily. Uh, it's not you need to like have full keyboard like authority while you're playing it. With mouse aim, it's not really going to work. I think, but yeah, I actually quite liked it. It's one of those vehicles that with the right kind of input, you can do a bit more than usual, and I kind of like it like that. Mm, mm. uh, what's your favorite fun tank in Germany? Um, Annoyingly, I'm not really the best person to ask for fun stuff because I don't really play this game to play like a vehicle I find fun. That might sound really dumb, but I generally play this game to complete stuff, like get camos, spade things, that kind of thing. And I don't really play a vehicle over and over again because it's good or if I like it. So I'm not really the best person to ask, but I'd probably just go with a vehicle that I really like the Jagdpanther I really like. That thing is like really, really good in the right spot. Um, what else do I quite like? I quite like the Marder 3H as well. I don't really know why, but I do kind of like that one. I don't really think it's the best fun vehicle though, but it's one you can take up well beyond its BR, and it will still do good work. And I quite like those two. Um, my issue with it is the terrible climb speed, and he side climbs altitude. That's basically over. And I pretty much consistently side climb with it, and if you can kind of enter in at the when the majority of the two teams kind of meet each other, you can hawk a lot of people with it. And then I mean, diving down onto the deck, I mean, you've got a lot of energy to escape, and then even at low altitude, it's still decently maneuverable. I mean, it's not a vehicle I would play a lot because it's not that great in general. But I really don't mind it at all. I mean, I think it's kind of slept on, but not in the extent that I think it's like crazy good. It's just good, but not consistently. I'm currently in holiday in Devon, binge watching your tech tree vids. Oh, nice. I hope you like them. I hope your holiday's nice too. I think I've been to Devon. Been around Devon, but not actually quite to it um, specifically. Um, how do I pen Stug front armor? Is this a meme? Is this a meme comment? Um, which removed vehicle come back on War Thunder's birthday? Um, Nothing sort of planned or really sort of, I guess, every year one comes back. I mean, last year it was the mouse. That might happen again. We don't know. It may be the plan that that's going to come back. But I don't know it's planned. I don't think everything's really set up yet. So we'll have to see. Not sure. Can't promise anything. I'm just going to take my chewing gum out. Hopefully they didn't make a horrible noise. There we go. Cool. Um, Ox, in your opinion, what is the most useless ground vehicle from all tiers? That's a good question. Hmm. I feel like I would know, like, I can come up with a few things off the top of my head now, but I think I'll be missing a couple of them. Um, I don't know. Because if you're looking at it in terms of like actual functionality or like potential, because functionality and potential are different. Um, in the sense that like the Gaz 4M, the 4M Gaz is the worst vehicle in the game against other ground vehicles because it has the least pen. But then again, it can kill every aircraft, so there's duality there. I'm not sure. I'll dwell on this. I'll think about this. Tito loves you. Always remember that. I will. Thank you. I appreciate that. Much love. Hey Bob. Um, I played with the NC900 earlier. Yeah, French Focke-Wulf A8. Maybe it'll come back again. I mean, it's one of those things that may come back on the marketplace or in some form. It probably won't be widely released as it's quite an old event vehicle. Those sorts of things usually don't make wide returns at all these days, only just sort of incidentally on the marketplace. So it might come back. I don't know. Oxy, tell me asterisk, 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 you think there is balance in this game? Yes, of course there is. Some areas are more difficult than others in terms of consistency with a lot of vehicles, but overall, I mean, it's a game that functions. And from a balance perspective, it's not exactly, broken in any way in that respect. I think a lot of people like to say so, but it really, really isn't. Um, so, yep, I think so. Um, do you like cheese? Some cheese. Double Gloucester, that's my favourite. What is best tea? Don't know. I quite like Earl Grey tea. That's quite nice. I'm a big fan of that. Maybe not the biggest fan, but it's certainly a tea I enjoy personally. I'd be you know, up for having some more of that. Do I look tired? Is this the thing that's happening? Because people always say this to me, like why you look so tired. I don't think I do. Do I look tired? What is it? Is it because of where my eyes are that it looks like they're half closed? If I look here, maybe it looks like I'm more awake. I don't know. It might just be the angle that I face when I do this. Um, no. Do you think we'll see a return of event vehicles that weren't offered as coupons as previous events? Probably not widely. Those sorts of things will only really come back in a very, very limited way from from just past experiences. Um, so I think it probably won't be an easy way to get them. I guess maybe not. Maybe easy is not the best way to put it, but probably quite rarely those sorts of things would really come back. So yeah, I'll have to see. But probably not, you know, super frequently. See, the thing is, random username. I don't look like Michael Jackson at all. It's because I have sort of messy hair and I'm quite pale. But I mean, I look nothing like him, so I can't really take that comment as anything. I mean, it's something that's sort of said a lot, but I mean, I cannot really, I look nothing like the guy. And I mean, I don't really know where it comes from. If I had shorter hair, I guess no one would really make that, but it's common, I guess. Um, well, I get good sleep, pretty much 7, 8 hours every day. I sleep quite well. I think this is just what my face looks like. I can't really do much about that, I'm afraid, but I mean, you know, I'm constantly well rested. I must be said. Um, mm, that's not a meme. I was messing with you. What stug do you want to know about? Sorry, I wanted to see how long that would go on for. Maybe that's kind of mean of me, but you know, um, yeah. Well, there's the helicopter PV mode that is sort of being worked on. I don't know when that will come out, but it will at some point. It's still being worked on. I think there's lots of improvements being made to it pretty consistently. I don't know when it'll come out, but yeah. I can't really say to the progress of anything on that front, but at some point, there'll be HeliC, well, PV rather, and it will be fairly different to what we have right now. And hopefully, it'll be pretty good, and hopefully, we'll see it soon as well. Mhm. Do you car? No, I can't drive, which is fine. Um, actually, I'll take more tea. It's strange. Like maybe I look tired, but I'm not. I sleep quite well. I think it's just the way I look on this monitor, in that I'm looking off to the side, and because of the perspective, it makes my eyes look kind of smaller. So like I'm kind of a bit tired like that, but I'm not. It's just where I'm facing. I think. Curious. Socks? Yes, I have two socks right now that I'm wearing. They're nice. Um, what's your opinion on the British tanks and the BR 3.0 to 3.7? They're pretty good. I like them. You have the early Sherman, which is incredible vehicle. Got the Cromwells too. Um, got the Achilles, and you've got the Churchill Mark One. You've got a lot of vehicles that can make a really good lineup and work really well together. It's a good BR for Britain, absolutely. Um, I like them a lot. I mean, you've got a lot of versatility. You've got your heavy tank, you've got your vehicle for up tiers and the Achilles, and you've got your sort of workhorse vehicles in the Sherman and the Cromwell. So yeah, really good vehicles overall. Not the easiest to play, I guess, overall, but they're still really effective and a lot of versatility in the lineup, and I am a fan. Um, How close is the nearest McDonald's to you? I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes away. I don't think I've ever been there. I've been outside there with someone once, but I've never been in. Socks are dope? Yes, they are. Will there ever be barrel camouflage, bushes, nets for tanks? Hmm. I don't know. Maybe at some point. It's one of those things that's quite hard to implement. Um, but I mean, maybe at some point. I don't think it's a priority though. I think those sort of camouflage options aren't sort of like the forefront of development, but they're not suggestions that are ignored in any case. So I think at some point we may see those. I don't know if we will, but probably not for a while in any case. But it really would be nice to see them though. They are very cool. Um, will there be an Oxy decal? Maybe. I've got an affiliate link. I just don't use it. Maybe I'll do a decal. I don't really know what the decal is going to be though, but we'll see. Maybe. Um, 2 to 3 minutes. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah. I don't really go there very much because I mean, if I eat fast food, I just hate myself. So it's like I'd go there with someone, but I wouldn't really go on my own. Yeah, it's really close, like right around the corner. But I might move soon, so maybe it won't be. We'll see. Interesting. What do you think about entering a new country? Do you have a preference? Do you mean like in War Thunder or like physically moving? Which one? I'll try and. Um, what does this comment mean? I don't know. Oh, it's not English. Okay, there we go. Any advice to play the IS-4? Yeah, pretty much. It's a good idea to not really brawl too consistently with it. Obviously, it has great armor relative to what it's fighting, but generally speaking, it's not too bad. Um, but because of the reload, you really need to be a little bit more passive with it in creating a bit of distance between you and what you're fighting. Because the reload is like what is it, 27.1 seconds, something like that. And if you fire an enemy and you miss or you non-pen, etc., they have they know they have around 20 seconds to rush you, and a lot of people at that tier will start to realize that. And so if you're playing at very close range, it's very easy to sort of push and overwhelm the IS-4. So creating a bit of distance between you and what you're fighting is ideal. If you can position yourself between some sort of hard cover, that's even better, because then you have somewhere safe to retreat behind to reload, and you also have the really pretty decent reverse gear to get yourself back into cover as well. So those two things I think are quite important. You also need to try and cover quite a narrow sight line, sort of narrow part of vision, because turret traverse is not that great, and you need to be quick at 7/7 and above to react to enemies. So yeah, keeping yourself kind of at a distance is pretty decent. I think that's where I've had the most success with it. And using the hull traverse to speed up your turret if you need to, that works as well. And yeah, just keep a decent range. Don't really brawl with it too extensively, and I think that's probably a decent backbone to play style, I would say. Um, uh, I haven't seen the Chieftain's Q&A, no. Maybe I will watch. Um, will there be a German Jaguar? Don't know, probably not. No idea if they even used it, really. Yeah, it's the Jaguar is just used because that's a vehicle that could carry it. A lot of nations have them that didn't use them. Same with the Su-7. It's not really indicative that it's going to appear in the tech tree. It's just a copy of the other vehicle for the nuke purpose, and it sort of comes from that. Will the mouse go to 7.3? Probably not. It wouldn't really be that fair to 6.3 vehicles to fight it, as there are some that can't really penetrate it at all. And like BRs have never been sort of I think the common misconception is that because two vehicles share the same BR, they're considered equal. It's not the case at all. The BRs are just there to denote what a vehicle can sort of safely engage up or down. Like something like the T-44 or the IS-2 or the Pershing or whatever fighting a Maus. I mean, the counter to that is sort of saying, well, just fight it from the side, but it's hyper disingenuous to sort of assume that that's going to be a possibility at all on some maps. So yeah, and that's sort of the reason I think why the Maus has stayed at 7.7. Maybe it'll go down. I don't think it will, but I mean, it's quite unlikely. Um, Getting War Thunder now, very nice. That's cool. I got some good kills with the Spitfire Mark II B today. It's a very fun airplane to fly. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a nice BR. It's a very maneuverable aircraft. I mean, the cannon armament is a little too low for my liking, but it still works pretty well. It's a great vehicle. I mean, it's one of the earliest to get reliable cannons like that, so that's pretty nice. I haven't used it for a while, but it's nice. Um, what do you think of the Japanese tech tree? I like it. I mean, it's obviously got its gaps here and there because of history, but it's pretty good. I like it. I like a lot of the vehicles it has. There's some really good lineups you can make. Um, the air tree is a bit more, I guess, fleshed out than the ground tree. The ground tree does have its sort of its elements. It's got its good spots. Obviously, it's not the most full tech tree by any stretch, but I mean, there are some decent areas to play, and I quite like it. I mean, it's quite quick to get through as well. It's not kind of you're not going to be held up on a lot of vehicles, and it's got some decent options here and there. I quite like it a lot. Um, what happened to the highlight message? It was taken away because we can't, when like me and Mike are streaming, we can't really guarantee that we can see all the comments. So it was a bit kind of reductive if someone used it and we missed it because we were talking or doing something. So they've been removed for now. Maybe we'll have them back in some form, but right now they're not there. Um, what did I miss? I missed some comments. How long will this stream go? It's generally for like 2 hours, so another hour and a half. It will most likely be. Um, Update on grey skin for Tiger. What do you mean? You can buy it for GE on the Tiger H1. Horizon, yeah, it'd be nice if there was another option they could have. Not a huge amount really at the BR, so yeah, there is a gap there to fill. Narval's fine. I mean, it's not great. I mean, the heat rockets are pretty decent. I don't mind it really. Yeah, it'd be nice to have something around there. Maybe we can see something at some point. Maybe not, but maybe that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Opinion on the Key 109? I don't really like it. It's not really as good as the HS129 B3. I think a lot of that is just down to the flight, like the firing platform and the way it's aimed. The gun being so high velocity and being shot from an aircraft, it's hard to actually aim with the kind of parallax that you get. So it's difficult to use. It has poor characteristics for looping and maneuvering. So it's difficult to actually get your gun on target most of the time. It has no secondary frontal weaponry to strafe stuff, get spots, or knock out some aircraft. It's very limited. I think maybe something could be improved with the way those guns are aimed in general. That could be quite good, but I don't know. I mean, I don't like it that much. I don't think it's even really worth using that much. I think the early dive bombers with their gyro sights are really good. I think they work just fine. Um, yeah, I'm not super keen. When that thing came out, I think it was really high BR, if I remember. I want to say it was like 4.3 or something, but no, I think of something else. But it was very high up in BR when it first came out. Maybe not quite that high, maybe 3.3 or 3.7, but yeah, very high. Yeah, difficult to use, not that great, but not sort of entirely useless, I guess. Um, will France ever get a normal EBR, so not premium? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's on the planned list of stuff. Maybe it is, maybe not. Not super unlikely though, I suppose. Will the Panther 2 ever return for players that joined after the patch out? Probably not. It's very unlikely it'll come back. Because it is a vehicle that sort of, couldn't work functionally in the way the turret's set up and everything, and it's effectively like a fantasy vehicle in that sense. Not that it's completely made up, but it's not a design that would have been real, and it was removed for that basis. So it's kind of, and obviously I know I can appreciate people upset about missing out on it, but it was sort of taken away because it wasn't real as a vehicle, and on that basis, there's So the design is the well, the design. The intention is that there's less of them around because War Thunder being showing vehicles excuse me, as authentically as possible, and so there's not really much application to have those vehicles back. Maybe in like very, very, very limited numbers, but I don't think it's likely at this point. What country has the highest chance of getting a tech tree? Don't know. Absolutely no idea. There's a few that I guess could feasibly be added into the game, but I don't know if any will at this point. Maybe, but absolutely no idea. Yeah. Do you have any good moments that you've had while working with War Thunder that you'd like to share? I mean, there's been achievements of stuff that I've done that's quite cool, but nothing kind of, I guess, hyper noteworthy that's happened in the sense of like a huge event. Because of Corona, we haven't really been able to do a lot of the things that the company usually does, like sort of meet up with the other teams and that kind of thing. So there hasn't really been much application to do anything super exciting so far. It's just sort of working well, that kind of thing. Which I don't know if that's exceptionally noteworthy, but there's lots of good moments like that. Getting lots of things done. I like that. KV1 L11. Any thoughts? Yes, I like it. I'm not sure what thoughts I was required to relinquish, but yeah, I like the KV. It's great for 3.7. I mean, not the best in up tiers, but the armor can still work. Not reliably, but it can still work. And yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't know if you wanted sort of any more information on that, or if it's just very, very general, but it's a good heavy tank. Works quite well, quite forgiving. Good reaction time window. Very nice. Yeah, Shark, I get it. Yeah, it's a shame, but yeah, it's not the intention that it was removed to make it kind of rare or give it some kind of artificial I guess rarity like that. But it's because the vehicles weren't really historical, and so on that basis they can't really be in the game. Um, so yeah, it's annoying and kind of sad, but it has to be this way, unfortunately. Um, I've missed some comments. Dev blog soon, maybe. Maybe. Hello, Oxy. Why do you reckon the SU-122P is so rare to see in battle? Probably because it's quite expensive and doesn't on the surface offer too much. I would say that's probably why people look at it and think it's too similar to the SU-100 or the it's between that one and the SU-85M, and there's a lot of TDs you can use around that BR. I think that's probably the baseline. But the thing is, I love that vehicle. It's got the semi-auto loading breach, so it's got a really fast reload. Excuse me, for what it is. Very low profile, awful gun depression, but the armor's not that bad. I think a lot of people overlook the armor on the SU, like from the 85M and up. It's pretty much at a decent range, immune from the American 76 and like contemporary guns. So it's really really good. I like it. I just think it's not exactly the best as a product because I mean it's tier 4 and it's very very similar to other vehicles, so it's not you know really, I guess it doesn't offer a lot in terms of what it can bring to the game, bring some more lineups. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I like it. How much armor does the Panther 2 UPF have? 100, I think. Believe so. 100 on the front hull, 80 on the sides, and 120 on the turret front. Um, Comments, yes. Where are they? In front of me. Wonderful. Are there more premiums coming to the Swedish tree? Maybe. I don't know if and when, but maybe there'll be some more. Maybe there'll be some more. What does this say? Can I read? Will my eyes work? Probably not. Tiger 2P, any thoughts or tips on playing it? I really like it for 6.3. It's really strong. You've got great reactive armor, not in terms of like ERA, but armor that lets you kind of make use of it. Gun's fantastic. Mobility's decent for what it is. And it's got a better side profile from a turret. when compared to the KTH, which is really good. The KTH is difficult for that because if you're not pointed directly at an enemy, because the sides of the turret slope, it creates a normalization angle, and obviously the round can go straight through. Not very good. KTP is a little more forgiving in that front. There is less, I guess, sloping that will normalize, so the armor is effectively more effective. That's a sentence. And obviously the main drawback is the turret front is less strong. But if you keep on the move while you're being engaged, move the turret around, it makes it very difficult for an APHE round to slot its way through, which is pretty good. And yeah, I really like it. The main thing about it is that you need to make sure you're not an easy target. And if an enemy is, scoping you in, you don't want to just stay still and point your gun directly towards them. You're going to want to move around, keep the hull angled, drive, forward and backward, throw the aim off, throw the turret around. That will really make the weak spot hard to hit. So yeah, KTP is really effective. Good lineup. Generally great vehicle in general. KTH is better because of the frontal armor, but I mean it's still a really strong vehicle. I like it a lot. Scott, do you work for Gaijin? Yes, I do. I work in their German office over here, which is pretty nice. Will the event Buccaneer have a good premium booster? It's not a premium, if that's what you mean. It's just an event vehicle, like pretty much all high tier event vehicles like that. Why was the heavy tank number 6 for Japan removed? I think just because it was sometimes the packs just get taken off the store. Sometimes they get turned into GE vehicles. Sometimes they just get removed and added back in other ways. Like the heavy tank number 6 is part of the well, in the marketplace now from some of the packs there. So it's still possible to get it. It's just long removed from what it once was. War Thunder have to remove the R2Y2. They were only on blueprints. They're still in the game because they fill a gap. If a vehicle comes along that replaces what they were, then maybe they'll be removed. I don't know. But yeah, they were initially added because Japan have, well, sort of again like the Panther 2 and KT-105. They're products of their time. They were added because they filled a gap. Japan didn't have anything that could fulfill that kind of high-speed bomber role in game, so they were added for that reason. In the same way, the Panther 2 KT-105 were added because at the time that was where ground forces stopped at the very end of the war, and just after it, and Germany didn't have anything else that could compete, so they they were added for that basis. And when there were vehicles that replaced them in what they did, they were removed. And the R2Y2s perhaps may follow the same follow the same method, I guess. I'll have to see. Why did the Giro change its name? I think just because that's the actual historical way it was referred to as, I think, since it was the experimental version of the Rogo. I guess that's why. I don't really know though. I don't know much about Japanese nomenclature for their vehicles, but something like that. Very nice. Is the Mirski rank 3? I think it's no, it's rank 1 or rank 2, I think. I can't remember. It should be on the page for Operation Summer. It'll tell you there. Say Oxy Gaming. Okay. The mouse will come back in October. No, I mean that's not something that's confirmed, I'm afraid. I don't think it will. The mouse will probably come back at some point, like here and there, but I don't know when or if it will, but it most likely will. I mean, it's known just how popular the vehicle is, so it's not going to be gone forever. Come back at some point. What's your favorite Italian fighter? I like the C205 Series 3. That one's very, very powerful. And I think I like the MC202 EC as well, but I haven't played it for a while. I think I have like a 30 and 0 KD in that thing. It's really powerful. Well, it was powerful when it came out. I don't know what it's like now, but it was really good. It was really good. But Yeah, I think the C205 Series 3 I really like. Um, I don't know, the flight performance is just great. The BR is not bad, and it's the cannons are fantastic. I love it. It's a really great plane. Um, how far away is the enlisted team from the War Thunder team? Do you mean like physically, and like, or do you mean like in like liaising and stuff? What do you mean? Um, how about the G55s? Yeah, G55s are still really, really good. Like really competent aircraft. Um, I just like I like the early ones a bit more. I don't know, the C205s, I like them visually. I don't know why, they're just more compact and I just find them pretty. Very functional as well. Um, yes. Which one? I said two things that your question might mean. I don't know which one you're saying yes to, I'm afraid. Uh, maybe that's just my brain being slow. But I can answer though, depending on which one it is. Um, why is it some vehicles have different names based on what language is selected? I guess because the name is different in other languages. Um, I don't really know what else there is for that one. I think it's just the name Panther is different in different languages, so it's written differently. Not sure really. Um, what's your all-time favorite moment you've had working at Gaijin? I don't really. I mean, it's just sort of doing good work. I guess there's some good things that I've done. I mean, uh, you know what the best thing is? I don't really categorize moments like that. I just sort of try to do a lot of things, um, well, as well as I can, I guess. I don't really know which one would be the best. It's just it's all pretty good. I like doing stuff. I like improving things, and I can sort of consistently do that, which is very nice. That's why it's nice to work here because I can sort of, if there's an area that's sort of lacking a bit, I can jump in, which is very nice. I like that. Physical. I mean, there are some people that work on both games in some ways. Some of them, they've got their own offices. I think the core enlisted team is in another office, but there are some devs that sort of work on both. I work on enlisted. I work on War Thunder as well. So there's overlap, but the core of the team, I think, the main development team is they do have their own office, I think. But there is overlap. They work in tandem sometimes. Um, just about 200% Spade UK tanks. Only true I've played. Looking to the star Italy or France. Um, hmm. I like both. I think France is a bit more unique. There's a lot more interesting vehicles there, and because they are predominantly APHE, well, no, excuse me, AP using as a nation, you'll probably be able to translate a lot of the skills you've learned from the British tree into the French tree. So that's another boon, I guess, another plus. Um, probably France, I think. Italy, I think, is really good. They've got some really nice vehicles. I like them a lot. But yeah, France probably would be the pick, I think, for you, I would say. What do you actually do for your job? I do a lot of stuff. There's no the good thing about this job is that you're not sort of tied down to one particular thing. I chiefly work in sort of marketing, so there's lots of work to be done there with sort of influencers and outreach and planning campaigns and you know liaising with other companies that we work with, that kind of thing. I also do a lot of the English translation for the game, so fixing the English text on like posts, patch notes, the game text itself, that kind of thing. I do a lot of that sort of work. I also manage all of the promotional video for the game, so trailers that are used on like YouTube adverts, or if like a creator is making a video for the game and use War Thunder footage, I make that footage. Like if you watch military, excuse me, slurring my words a lot today. If you watch military aviation history, on some of his recent videos, like there was the video on the Lake Cass, I think, with the Focke-Wulfs and the Panzer Blitz rockets. I made all the footage for that, so I do all of that as well. And really, it's just if there's a gap, if there's work that needs to be done somewhere, I do it. There's lots of stuff. Things in like game design, if there's something there that I can help with, I do that. And it's really good. It means that I'm basically never without something to do, which is great because there's never a moment where I can say, I'm all done for the day because there's always something else to sort of work on and focus on, and I really like that. That's really, really good. So my YouTube chat's just frozen. I'm not getting anything updated on the YouTube chat. That is curious. Let me try and rectify this. I don't think I can. I've got it sort of popped out. I don't know if I can refresh it. Let's try this. Okay. I've lost YouTube chat. Hang on, YouTube. I'll get you back, maybe. Let me try and find this. Bear with me. Our internet's been a bit weird today. Before I started, there was it cut out for about 10 minutes. It's cut out again. That's strange. This is odd because the stream's still here. Yet my PC has this PC has no internet. My internet stopped. That's interesting. So YouTube has no connection. Yet I can see the Twitch chat, which is still coming through fine, and the stream is fine. Hello. How does the internet work, please? Not very well, presumably, but okay, well, YouTube, I'm very sorry. I will keep reloading, but I can't read any of your comments the next few minutes. You can either migrate to Twitch or wait a bit, and I will try and get back to that. There's nothing I can do right now. It's just stopped entirely. How does this work? Why is YouTube telling me there's no internet, yet there is internet, and it's working? Hello? Is there some particular channel that this works off that we have a problem with? I'll see if I can get it up on my phone. Hopefully not play some weird music. That would be hyper cringe. Hang on. Do-do-do-do-do. Here we go. That's me. Okay, I've got it on my phone for the time being, so I can look at it through there. Now I can see them again. Great. I will keep refreshing to try and get it back, but for the meantime, I'll look on my phone. Yeah, we have a very sophisticated internet here. I don't know why it's happening. All of our sockets are fine. I don't know why that's working like that. Very strange. Oh well, we'll see. What are you waiting for? Nothing. I'm waiting for nothing right now. I've missed some comments here. Is there such a thing as it's too late in the day for cereal? No. You can cereal whenever you like. That's great. Cereal is sort of universal food, I think. I mean, I don't really know if there's much value in gatekeeping food time-wise. It's like, if I'm hungry and I want to eat this thing, go for it. No one's stopping you there, Chief. All the best. Yeah, see, how's your day so far? Yeah, pretty good. Not too bad at all. Standard sort of Monday, I guess. Doing stuff and things, both of which at the same time, which is quite nice. Very cool. Just woken up? Do you mean you've just woken up? Well, I hope you had a good sleep. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no gameplay on Mondays. It's literally just to sort of talk with people. If you've got any questions about the game or anything else with, well, whatever really, I can do my best to help you out because I've played this game a huge amount and I might as well put that time to somewhat good use. You know, that's why I'm here. Maybe in the future we'll have like stuff in the background, like a replay or something. But I didn't know if it would be distracting for people because this isn't really, I guess, a quintessential stream. I guess it's more like a podcast in format. But I mean, there's not really much to look at. It's just sort of me here for a bit, but you don't really need to, I guess, look at it because there's nothing to really look at. Mostly just listen to. Maybe we can get some replays on the screen at some point. It's just, if it would be distracting, but maybe not. Maybe we'll try. Maybe for the next one, we can do that in the future. But yeah, for now, it's mostly just sort of me saying words, which is not the best, but it'll do. It'll do for now. Oxy crack. Don't say those words together, please. But I know what you mean, yes. Wait till you hear my real voice. Minds will explode. Just having a bit of trouble with the T44. Can you recommend something for that? Well, T44, I think it's a vehicle that if you kind of employ a lot of active um, I guess, what's the best way of wording this? It's a vehicle that won't do a lot for you. You need to sort of have an active impact in what you're doing to get the most out of it. Um, the armor, if you keep on the move and you keep moving the turret around, you don't make yourself an easy target. It's excuse me, really, really effective. But if you're staying still, you're pointing your gun at an enemy, it's very easy to get through that turret, especially with high caliber AP, APHE. Um, but um, so the most important thing really is to make sure you're not an easy target. It's the window of reaction time. It's the window of reaction time. A lot of vehicles function on that principle. In that, if you're forcing the enemy into rushing a shot, you will survive a lot more hits. Because if you're driving an enemy at an angle, you're moving the turret around, the perfect shot on your vehicle keeps changing. And that's the most important thing. If a turret is pointed towards an enemy, the cheeks. If a turret is like pointed away, corner of the cheeks. If you keep, you're moving the hull, moving the turret, that kind of perfect spot is constantly in flux, which makes, it much more likely for the enemy to misjudge and fire at the wrong spot for their gun at the time. And that's how you keep that tank alive, because you really need to, it's a vehicle that consistently works really well aggressively. It's really, really good for that. And you've got great reactive mobility. Reverse speed is okay, not amazing, but it works. And great mobility, great agility. You can bait shots with the front plate really effectively. And you do need to be at a relatively close range to make sure the gun works. You can snipe with it, obviously, like you can with any gun, technically, but you're not going to get the most out of it. Gun depression as well will limit that. So being aggressive, brawling, and making sure that you're getting the enemy, rushing them into firing at you is the most important thing. Its other biggest detriment is how wobbly it is, though. The gun is very unstable when it's coming to a stop. That's pretty much a pretty big drawback for the vehicle. And you can counter that either by being quite static and quite stationary if you're, ambushing, that kind of thing. It does work for that. But to be aggressive, you need to kind of keep pushing and keep on the move, and that can be difficult. But if you keep it on cruise control 1 while you're driving, it's decently stable. And that's probably what I would go with for actually using it. Keeping it kind of slow like that. So if you're engaging, you're not moving too quickly, because if you're trying to fire an enemy while just coming from a high speed, it's going to take a really long time to level that gun off, and you are going to struggle. So if you know that you're around an area where enemies will be fighting you, keeping the vehicle relatively slow, it might sound silly, but it works. It works to keep your reaction times up, and that kind of works in tandem. It'll take rushing the enemy into firing at you. You can kind of fire at them quicker as well if you're slower, and it works in that duality. So it's really good for that, and I think that's probably what I would do for that vehicle. I love the T44. It's a fantastic vehicle. I really like it. Hang on, let me just check the YouTube on my tiny phone. Nerf Germans, Nerf Germans, Nerf Germans, Nerf Germans, Nerf Germans. Standard YouTube chat. Let's check that. Check back on that later. And have some more fluid. It's more sinister if I say fluids. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't really know what this is. It's not juice. It's just sort of yeah. Oh yeah. My face looks weird from the front. Strange. I've never really looked at myself from the front before. If I can just kind of see myself on the monitor. That's weird. Not doing that anymore. Disaster. Yeah, Blitz, exactly. Like it's something that's really difficult to counter, because the wobbliness of the gun is basically completely out of your control. In that, armor you can make effective by angling, but something like that, there's nothing you can do to make it less of a problem, which is really difficult. The only way you can get around it is, by engaging stationary or by moving slowly. I would try moving slowly and see if that works. If it doesn't, maybe try being a bit more passive. What you can do is like sort of rush out and bait the enemy into firing at you, and then stop, level off the gun. You do have that grace period to fire back. Try that. It can be difficult. The T44 I think is a vehicle that it's not super easy to use, but once you get the hang of it, it's got a lot to offer. It's got a lot to offer. And yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. It's one of my favorite vehicles of all time. I really like it a lot. Um, YouTube, how are we doing? Um, uh, ew, iced tea. This isn't iced tea. That's what you meant. Um, it's a powder beverage. Um, any thoughts on the T3485? I like it a lot. I think it's really. I can see why people think it's overtiered, but it's a hugely versatile platform. Excuse me. Yeah, hugely versatile platform, and it's one of those vehicles that has the firepower and the mobility to make it work. From the front, you will struggle in up tiers with certain vehicles, but in the right spot, if you can be aggressive and get the most out of that thing, it can work really effectively. Obviously, it's one of those vehicles that really favors good positioning. Map knowledge is sort of integral for that kind of thing, and yeah, I really like it. I still like it a lot. I think it's not as good as it was, but it's still decently effective. It really is decently effective. Ow, earrings annoying me. Terrible. But yeah, I really like it a lot. Great vehicle. Not the easiest to use, not the most versatile now, but it works. It's decently workable. Do you like cats? I do. I do like cats. Cats and dogs, they're both nice. Why gatekeep? I like them both. Um, nope, YouTube's still dead on my PC. Tea with Toxie is fine. Yeah, initially, like a while ago, I was gonna create like another channel called Toxie, where it would just be like unfiltered gameplay, and I would just like play with some friends and like have a little funny meme around. That could be kind of fun. But I don't have any friends, so I can't do that. That was the plan years ago. Maybe there'll be more. Um, something along those lines in the future. I don't know. Probably not. Why don't you play while you're talking? Because I want to be able to sort of dedicate all of my brain to engaging with people. Because when you're playing and focusing, when I play this game, I want to play well, and that requires a lot of my brain. And because I'm not used to doing both those things at the same time, I can't really, I think answer questions effectively if I'm focusing. So that's the reason why, really. Maybe I'll have something in the background. We'll get some sort of background footage like replays and stuff. Maybe everyone can send replays in. Maybe that could be cool. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe in the future. Kyle, shush! Don't say these things now. I'll have to hide if you do that. Thank you. That's very sweet. Um, hello, Rusty Sniper. You haven't missed much. It's been quite quiet so far, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but glad you're here. Glad you're here. Volume is a bit low. Yeah, I speak quite quietly in general. I don't like speaking loud. It doesn't really suit my vocal cords. They get angry if I speak loud. Plus, it's just sort of, don't know. It might sound stupid, but it's not really in my, I guess, my nature to speak loudly. I just always speak quietly. For like at the weekend, I went out with some colleagues for like some beverages and some sushi, which is nice. But I found this out. If I'm in a place that's around like, if you're at like a bar or something and everyone, it's like really loud, there's music, people are talking, my voice hits the perfect kind of echelon where it's completely drowned out. In like the kind of pitch of my voice is exactly the same as the kind of general ambience of lots of people talking. So I become impossible to hear if I'm out in an environment like that. So I just didn't say anything. Also because all my colleagues speak German, so I don't. I just sort of sit there and look at the scenery. But yeah, so that's really annoying. But it's just how my voice is, which a bit annoying. But you know, I'll have to switch my voice up. This is not my real voice. Well, it is sort of my real voice now, but it wasn't always. But um, do you love us, Oxy? I do love you. Yes, in the platonic way that one may love a dog or a sandwich. But yes, I certainly do. Um, now you want a Toxie channel? Maybe, maybe it's just I don't really know if I could do much with it. And I'm so busy now with work and everything that even making my regular content takes a lot of time. So it's maybe if I can kind of streamline what I do, maybe, but I'll see. Uh, do you have game testers? Yes, we have a lot of game testers. I don't really think we need too many of them. But the testing that we have internally is pretty streamlined for what it is. It's probably not to what most people want. Well, I guess externally want, but it works pretty well. We've got a good testing team. They try and they work really hard. I know a lot of them, and they do pretty good stuff. Um, I have missed some messages here because Fly made me addicted to this game. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Don't spend too much time playing games. Do other stuff as well. Rest your eyes. Something I do, which everyone should do as well, because I remember it now, is something called 20-20-20, which is every 20 minutes, focus on something 20 feet away, or I think it's meters actually, 20 meters away, and stare at it, focus your eyes on it for 20 seconds. And that will kind of, well, it will fix your vision. Because if you're looking at a screen constantly, it will make your kind of perception very flat, and it's really bad for your eyes. So whenever you can, if your room is like by a window, go outside, focus on something like 20 meters away, and focus on it for 20 seconds, and it will eventually heal your vision a bit if you find that's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem for me as well. My vision's a bit sort of well, my eyes aren't that great at the moment for many reasons, but yeah, do that. It's good for you. Digital hygiene is great. In that sense, so yes, do this. Foot pics, probably not. I don't know why I would do that, unless it was sort of intensely funny for some reason. I think it's unlikely that will happen. You know, no, maybe. Speaking of replays, why can't we reverse the replay? Because on the foundation of the code the game is made from, it doesn't work. That's probably an annoying thing to hear, but it's just not technically possible. Replays effectively are a kind of string of information that's fed to bots that will recreate the match in real time. And the way that code is worked, it can't be reversed. It's like a straight line thing. It can only go in one direction. You can potentially create waypoints, I think, for it to go forward and back to, so maybe that could happen, but it's functionally impossible to go backwards, unfortunately. It's in the same way there's a lot of issues like that, in the same way that in the hangar, we were asking a while ago, like, hey, let's do drag and drop. That'll make creating lineups quicker. But in the way that the code of the UI is worked, it's impossible to do. It can't be done. So there are issues like that, and I think a lot of people think that they're just being ignored, but they're just not possible without utilizing a lot of time and a lot of work to kind of reset and remake everything, which at this point is not a good use of the development team's time. So yeah, it's annoying. It's just how the game works and how the foundation of it works. I think it's possible to make waypoints though, so you could potentially like go back to like one point, but you can't reverse, from what I understand. Oh, Kyle, you're very nice to me. Thank you. I just read the OnlyFans comment. Maybe, I don't know what I would do on that though, because I don't really take many pictures of myself. I take like one picture of myself a year, and even then it's like a kind of crop of the side of my face or something. I don't know what I'd put on there. I don't know. I was about to say what suggestions do you have, but I don't know if that's really a good thing for me to ask. Maybe. I don't know. Which Spitfires do you prefer? 2 Hispanos and 430s or 4 Hispanos? I like the later Spitfires with the 2 Hispanos because I think I like having the option of the rifle caliber. You can spray a lot more with them, and at range they're more reliable, I find, and they're good for like conserving ammo. Because if you know that you have an enemy dead in a perfect energy trap, or if you're about to finish something off, you don't need to waste cannons because the 30s will just do fine. I like those a lot more. The 4 Hispano versions on the Spitfire F Mark 9C and the 5C drop, they're a little bit too heavy, and I think they kind of make the Spitfires more middle of the road. And I think in some cases, creating a sort of middle of the road experience, or at least in terms of anything, is not as effective as really focusing on one advantage. Spitfires are hyper agile. If you sacrifice that reliable agility for extra firepower, you kind of nullify the advantage the vehicle had. And so I don't like those versions as much. I think they're still good. You can slow out turn a lot with them, but they're not quite agile enough to be reliable, and I think that's my kind of detriment with them. But I do like the rifle caliber versions. They're very, very, very good. Make me a tester? I don't think I can do that. A lot of the testers, sort of do other things for the game. Like I can test stuff in the game, but I work here as well. There's very little external testing. I think it's all done in house. We have a lot of testers in house though. A lot of play tests, that kind of thing, and it's It's all pretty good. I don't know if I can do that. Sorry. But thank you for being passionate about it, though. I appreciate that all the same. This is a weird internet thing going on. Um, WoW or FFXIV? Is that Final Fantasy? I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life. I've always wanted to, but I've never have. I played a bit of World of Warcraft, but I just thought, oh my god, this is a time sink. I'm losing money in my life. And so I stopped. Uh, and then went to War Thunder and wasted more time. Although it's not a waste because I'm here and it worked out. So, yeah. Uh, I'm working my way through YouTube chat right now. Thoughts on the T-34 1942? Best version in my head. I like it a lot. Actually, I know what you mean. From this angle, it makes my eyes look really tired, but it's just how I'm looking. I think if I look directly at the camera, um, I look fine. I think well, not really. I look fine, but it makes me look less tired. I think it's that when yeah, like I can see on the monitor here. If I look from the side, it makes my eyes seem smaller, and I think yeah, I can see it. I can see where the tiredness look comes from. I'm really not that tired. My eyes just look like that from this angle. I think. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about my sleep schedule. It's okay. So T-34. Why am I speaking so quickly? The T-34 1942 is a good version. It adds a strong point to the turret while also creating one. The turret neck is obviously weaker, but the turret face itself, very strong. Because it has the APHE trap. Because the armor on the turret is double stacked. So you have the 53mm flat plate, and then the 53mm blister on top. And those are, it's like I'm like doing the breast thing here. I'm not meant to be doing that. You have the kind of, the blisters which will catch rounds. They set off the fuse, they explode inside the space, and it's really good spaced armor. Really, really good. And so they're great for that. The turret neck is a bit of a weak spot, but at range it's kind of hard to hit. And I quite like it. Also has a faster reload as well, 6.5 seconds on an ace crew. Pretty good, not bad at all. Not even close to the reload of the Shermans, but it's decent. I like that version a lot. It's probably the version I've played the most. And yeah, I really like it. I think it's really usable, really versatile. You just need to sort of use a bit more, well, bit of map knowledge, make sure you're not, going to a position where the gun depression is, not really working in your favor, but with some good map knowledge, it's a really good vehicle. One of my favorites by far. Yes. Um, Spitfire talk, I'm in for it. Yes. I'm in for it too. So I'm going through the comments here. I've spoken a lot and I've missed lots of them. Sorry. Just send me a USB with the next update. It doesn't work that way. It'd be funny if it did though. That could be kind of fun. Is it possible to implement where you can see your squad mates' vehicles in the hangar while in the squad? You can do that now. If you hover over them on the bottom left, you can see the vehicles they have in their lineup. Or am I thinking of something else? I think I just invented that in my head. I think you can do that for yourself. Now, can you? I don't know. I think my brain just split in two. Like I had a Mandela moment where the universe simultaneously worked in two ways. It's either you can see the vehicles they have in their lineup, which I think is the case, or you can also see the highest BR vehicle they have in all nations. I think it's the former, but for whatever reason, my brain just injected like a heap of doubt in my head for saying that. I don't know why that happened. That's really strange. Usually that doesn't happen in my brain. What's different today? Actually, it was odd. On my walk here to the office for this stream, in the space of 2 minutes, not even that, like a minute, a guy cycled past dressed as the Grim Reaper on his bike. He had this like black kind of cloak around his shoulders, and he had this like plastic like show scythe that he had like on his back, and he cycled in front of me, and I thought, okay, that's ominous. And then like 40 seconds later, I saw a raven with like a dead like rat in its mouth, like just walk along the street in front of me, and it's like, am I gonna die today? Am I about to like get hit by a car? Why is this happening? And that was strange. So maybe like today's cursed or something. But that was really odd. I've never seen those two things happen at all, and they happened in a very quick period of time. Don't know why that happened. It's very strange. I will now read more chat. I'm really not that tired. I wish I could relate. Well, I mean, I can't be out here telling people I'm tired. It looks bad. So I'm very awake, always. Why is the Russian 152 so satisfying to play? I know what you mean. It really is. It just feels, I don't know, there's something about it. There's something about the way it connects and the way it just, the visual feedback you get from using that gun is just the best. I love it. So I know exactly what you mean. I really do. It's really, really good. Really good. Um, mm, mm, mm. Reading all the comments that I missed. Um, I don't know what this means. Am I missing out on a meme here with this comment? I'm not going to read it out. I'll be stupid. Um, hang on. I'm just trying to read through all the messages I've missed because I've been doing lots of talking. That's a bit redundant. Yeah, it's a very sort of, it's like a lot of bad omens occurred in the same way, and I was like, yeah, these are signs. Like something bad's going to happen today. I know it, but I mean, it's one of those things. If I forget that that happened, nothing will happen. But if I remember that happened while walking home, I will notice something else that I will kind of passively link with those other things. Um, but we'll see. We will see. Kind of weird. See black cats and think the same. Yeah, I know what you mean. We'll see. Meh. You've been more visibly present online for a bit now. Any regrets? What do you mean? Do you mean like physically visible? Is that what you mean? Um, Good night, Oxy. It's been nice hanging out. Good night to you. Hope you have a good sleep. Sleep well. Dream of nice things. Dream of a field. That's my challenge for you today. Give that a go. Um, what else have I missed here? Um, hey War Thunder. One thing Tiger is better on 4-7, no on 5-3. I don't know what this means, but the Tiger should not be 4-7. My esteemed chum. That's a very big no from me, and probably other people as well. Yeah, sorry, YouTube chat. For whatever reason, our internet is just not connecting to YouTube right now. The internet's working, but it's just not connecting to YouTube on the PC. I've got it on my phone perfectly fine. I've got no idea what this issue is at all. I can only connect it if I turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone. So there's some channel that's getting mixed here, so apologies for that. I will get to you in good time. I found my astral connection with Tom. It's the 152. Yes, I suppose so. Um, yeah, no gameplay today. We this is like a pretty much just a talk thing. Although because a lot of people sort of ask for this, I will probably put a replay on the screen at some point. But we'll check it next week then, if I can remember. The issue is I'll need to take like a terabyte of stuff through with the hard drive, and that takes like 2 hours to unload on the hard drive I have. And because I record gameplay at a really high quality. But yeah, we'll do that then. If I can remind myself, which I most likely will. And that should be usable. That was a very good sentence. I mean, like, a face behind the Oxy now that you're at Gaijin. Um, hmm. I mean, whenever I do one of these, I kind of panic for the rest of the day that I did something stupid or I said something bad, and like it will make me never want to go outside again. So I think it's just the sort of person I am, that I am sort of perpetually terrified of engaging with anyone, even if it's like in a good way. Like the last stream I had when I said lots of things, it's like I just never want to talk again. I want to hide in a corner by the radiator under a blanket and never leave. I kind of get that if I do anything. If I go out, if I meet someone, if I talk with someone in the post office, if I send a message to someone, it'll always be perpetual. Like, I would rather just not do anything at all. I don't think that's necessarily got worse, that feeling. I think that's just how I'm built as a person. But yeah, I don't really regret anything. It's not really a term of regret. I don't regret anything I've said or done. Um, but I mean, obviously there are things I think I could have said better. But there's nothing I think, that moment was bad. I shouldn't have done that. I've never had one of those yet. So yeah, no regrets, I guess, but I just sort of live in perpetual terror of existing, which I think is something a lot of us can empathize with. It's the current year. Being, ironically existential is in right now with the kids and young adults, I guess, and actual adults. Everyone, I suppose. What a society we live in. Hello, Emil. I hope you're having a nice day, or night, or evening, if you're a renegade. Um, we need more torpedo planes for low BR. Yep. I love torpedo aircraft and float planes. I would love that. There are options we could take, I guess. I hope we see more. I don't know if we will, but I would certainly like to. Because, yeah, there's a lot of vehicles that, I mean, there were Focke-Wulfs and 109s that could carry them. I'd love to see those variants. There's that field mod of the IL-2 that could carry one for Russia. That would be nice. It'll be a bit of a bad vehicle, though, because I believe to carry the torpedo, it had to take out the weaponry, or at least the 23 mils. So that would be tricky, although that would make it really maneuverable. Hmm. That could be cool. We'll see. But yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I would love to see more torpedo planes. 100%. Um, hey, serious question. Are there any chances, even if slim, that any aircraft tank that's never been produced or left the conceptual drawings like the R2Y2? Well, I don't know. I think I don't. This is not sort of an official stance, but the way I see it, and from what I believe is how it works, is that that won't be the case unless a gap needs to be filled. Say, for example, if there's like a 2BR jump in one tree, then maybe designs like that could be considered. But I don't think it's a case of like, hey, we have like 10 vehicles at 3.7. Let's add this fantasy one as well. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. Um, I think vehicles from blueprints and mock-ups and like unfinished prototypes are likely to fill those gaps if no other aircraft can do it or tank. But I don't know if it's going to be a case of like, famous designs like, the German E series. I don't think they're likely because there's no gaps to fill for them. Maybe there are some in the kind of higher echelons, like 6, 7, that kind of thing. But I don't think it's likely in that sense. If they fill a gap, I mean, personally, I'm all for it. The way I look at it is that War Thunder is the perfect place to bring those ideas to life because, I think we as a kind of species are fascinated by things that kind of could have been. I mean, I find that really interesting, things that could have been. Like if there was, so like the HE100 design lost out to the General 109 design. And it's like, imagine how different like the kind of visualization of the German Air Force would have been if that design beat the 109. How many different variants would we have of that vehicle? Would it have been, drastically different? Would it have been awful, I like that kind of line of thinking, and I think War Thunder is the perfect way to bring those experiences, like bring them to life. Like those things were designed, and they can be like tested and used in like a safe way, and I love that. I love that as an idea. So I'm all for it as long as they don't, ruin gameplay or their vehicles that were complete fantasy. If I think for me, if the vehicle was planned historically and it could feasibly exist and to a reasonable degree be constructed, then I think it has a place if it fills a gap, and that's how I see it. I think if it's like a made up design like the ones World of Tanks do, nope. But if it's something that was planned, had a kind of real, I guess it could have been made, then yeah, I like that idea. But within reason, of course, within reason. I'm also missing a lot of comments. Do you regret telling us about frogs? Maybe. Maybe a bit. Not really. I like the frog talk. It has its place, I think. Are you okay, Oxy? Um, I mean, well, this stream on the War Thunder official channel is not exactly the best place for me to talk about my deep set, I guess, worries and things. I don't think it's fair of me to do that. I don't really like making things about me, I guess, in that sense. Not in the sense of like, I guess, giving my thoughts on stuff, but if it's like, hello, we're here to listen to about things that are specific to me now. I don't really like that. Always makes me feel uncomfortable. For the same reason that I never do birthdays, because I don't like being the reason why people are doing a thing or kind of at a place. I've always felt uncomfortable like that. So I don't think I can answer that right now. But thank you for the concern, though. That's sweet of you. But yeah, I can't really comment on anything right now. But thank you though. Why is the OS2U locked behind a naval wall? Because it's a vehicle that's inherently a bad beginner experience. It doesn't offer too much. It's not a great bomber. It's not a great fighter. It's not a great attacker. Its peak use is as a sort of float plane to capture points in naval. So that's why it's tied to that right now. Because I think if it's the first vehicle you get as a sort of a new player, you are outmatched against almost everything. If you're a good player, I mean, sure, you can make it work, but it's not a vehicle that's like an intensely forgiving experience, and I think that's why it's removed. I don't know that. That's just what I would surmise based on what I know about the vehicle and how things work. I would imagine that's probably why. Um, yeah, I missed the floats event. That was really fun. Hopefully, we can get more of that soon. Um, that's the weird noise that I'm making. Makes total sense. Argument's completely valid and interesting. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, as long as balance isn't completely destroyed, like adding those like really weird German prototypes and stuff. Yeah, if it could reasonably exist, I think it's fun. It's a War Thunder is pretty much the perfect place to make those things, bring them back to life. I love that. I also think I'm someone that doesn't like things being lost forever. Like, imagine if there was a design for a vehicle or something, or like I don't know, like a piece of literature or like artwork or whatever that's just destroyed like that. No one can ever see it. It's gone forever. And I don't. That's always bothered me. I think so. I have like a very kind of archival nature to me. I think. So in my free time back in the UK, I might do it again here. I used to scan like historical magazines and like documents because I want. I don't know. I don't like being lost. Um, and that's just sort of part of how I'm made as a person. So that kind of line of thinking sort of, I guess, bleeds into this mindset with like those vehicles and stuff. I just like it. I like those kind of things being brought back to life and that kind of thing. Yeah. Maybe that's pretentious. I think it's a little bit pretentious, but I like that. Mental health stream. Exactly. Maybe not. Maybe a bit. If you want to talk about your problems, we can do that though. That's completely fine. Why does the 100 have the mouse turret and the wrong gun? The gun was, well, initially the 100 was planned to have the 150. If you look at the old promotional footage for War Thunder, it had it, but it was, it was unhistorical in the sense that the turret existed for the E100 and the hull existed. Well, the turret existed excuse me, I'm really messing my words up. The turret existed from the Maus, hull existed from the E100. The E100 turret didn't exist at the time, so they combined those two. So yeah, that's why, effectively. Best way to help many people's mental health in our community is for them to fix the recent mistakes made harming the sim economy. I don't think that's a very fair thing to say. I don't think that's a very helpful thing to say. If it's like a meme comment, then it's like, yeah, okay, I can get that. But I mean, I don't think you should really use mental health as a battering ram for that kind of line of thinking at all, my esteemed chum. But I mean, maybe there'll be changes. I don't know. I'm not really that well versed in the sim economy at this point, but I don't know if that's necessarily a helpful thing to say. I've caught up on the comments. Very nice. This is cool. I will also read some more comments over here now. How should I play the Tiger 2P? I did talk about it earlier. I don't want to talk about it again just because I don't want people to have to listen to the same thing twice. I did mention it probably like 40 minutes ago or so if you want to go back. Apologies, I just don't want to. I want to get to as many unique questions as I can. So my apologies. How's the frog? Still haven't located the frog, I'm afraid. It's still an enigma to me, which is okay, I guess. It's nice to have something, I guess, like mysterious. Life is more boring if you know everything, I think. That really shocked me. No, to come back. Oh, the coaster attached to the cup and landed on my lap and then rolled away to the corner of the room. That's dead to me now. I can't get that for a while. Well, we'll have to deal with that, I think. Sorry, YouTube. I'm getting to you. The internet's weird right now. Frog? Yes. What is your opinion on Japanese heavy tanks? I don't know much about them in the way they historically existed. Maybe I don't think it's likely they'll come to game. Excuse me, come to the game, but maybe they will. I really can't say. I'm not sure. Where's the frog? The frog comment is back years and years ago. There was a frog that I saw in the garden that has been impossible to identify. It was kind of large, I guess, like kind of like this size. That looks too big in the camera. Probably about this size, and it was sort of bright orange, and it was like a well, it's more of a toad, I guess. It was very kind of flat, like a flat boy, and yeah, it's been impossible to identify. I live in the southeast of the UK, or rather, I do in the UK. I live in Germany right now, but yeah, we don't know what it is. I can visualize it perfectly, but I don't know the species. Hey Joe, not right now, but I will in the future. I'm still actively buying lots of stock, a huge amount of stock. I have probably about 400 parcels of stuff that I've ordered for the shop in the UK. So when I can start it up again, I can promise you there is some really, really, really cool stuff there to sell. I do have one thing I'm really excited for is I have this huge wall poster that was made in 1941, I think, of War Office tanks. So it's like silhouette designs of tanks from the 40s, and it's in perfect condition. It's beautiful, and I'm so excited to frame that up, get the mounting done, iron it so it's completely flat. I'm excited to get it done, and I think that's going to be a really good product. I've got a lot of good stuff like that coming. Um, I might have to make it expensive because it's exceptionally rare. Someone tried selling it to me for £250. I got it a lot cheaper. But yeah, I won't sell it at that amount. I think that's too much. I like making stuff on the shop affordable at the same time. But yeah, I have thousands and thousands of thousands of worth of things to frame, and I miss it. I really miss doing it. It was so fun. I've got so many things to do, and I'm hyped for that when I can do it at some point. So yeah, I'll when I can, if that means moving back to the UK and doing it there, or like bringing all my stuff here, I don't know, but I will try because I framing stuff was one of the fun, like the most fun things I did. And I really, rest assured, I will bring it back. Absolutely, the shop will never be dead. That's my, I guess I don't know. I really love it, and it's gonna come back. Trust me, I promise. I promise. I have a new office. I'm gonna put up some of your frames. Oh, I will. I'll try as soon as I can. As soon as I can, I will. Um, it could have been an enchanted prince or princess. I would have kissed it, but it was like bright yellow or like bright orange, and that's like a no-no color for like the frog world. I don't want to die from like frog kissing. It's like I would do it as like a thing, but at the same time, it's like if I were to die from like kissing a frog, I would be so annoyed in the afterlife if there was one. I'd be like, what was the point of that? I could have done so many other things, and yet I thought that would be funny. So terrible. Ah, Joe, yes, I will as soon as I can. It's like a high priority for me right now. It will be difficult to get everything over here because the thing is, the company that makes the frames, um, they do ship to Germany, but the import cost of them is way too high for me to make any money. I'd have to like really increase the price of the stuff I was selling, and I don't want to do that. So it's really difficult to do right now unless I can find like a hyper wholesaler over here. I can't really do it. So that's kind of difficult. Unless I just bought loads of them in the UK, like a few thousand, and shipped them myself via like international courier. But then again, that creates loads more problems, and it's kind of tricky. But as soon as it's possible, I will do it. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd be really embarrassed if that happened. I don't want to die from any frog-related injury. Oxy, can you say why the T14 is at 4.7 and not 4.3? Because, I mean, it's not the most powerful vehicle at 4.7 now, but it's still incredibly good. But the thing is, again, it's a vehicle that won't do a lot for you. You need to keep on the move. You need to keep angled. You need to make it so the enemy has a hard shot on you. And at 4.7, you can still do some great work. It's got a good lineup. If it's like a 5.3, 5.7, you don't need to play it. You can play the 76 M4A1 and the M6. You've got lots of options to play. And I think at 4.7, it's not as strong as it was, but it's still very, very good. I mean, I think I had a 22 kill game in it last week while recording for the tier 3 video. It's still great. It's not as good as it was, and it's easy to misplay, not as powerful as it was, but it's still fine, and it was performing incredibly well at its PR. So I can see the reasoning as to why it seems like it should be lower, but yep, it's it's not really you know, I can see why it's there, why it's at its PR. I messed that sentence up. Do you think the Car Chi could perform in 1.0 naval matches? Not really. It's way too slow. It has a shoulder stabilizer, but it wouldn't be able to stabilize on rough seas. So yeah, it's one of those things that's like fun in theory, but I don't think it's likely or would be enjoyable. Um, yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I think unfortunately, well, it would be kind of funny though. When did you live back in the UK? Like basically a year and a week ago, I lived in the UK. I lived in Margate. Well, I still live in Margate. I still pay for my flat over there, which is draining my money, but it's fine. I must keep it for several reasons. But yep, very nice place. I'll drink now. I don't know why I needed to say that out loud, but I did. Curious. Curious. Do you like the Tiger H1? I do. It's a very competent vehicle. Not the most reliable, especially because of the well, Capola's not great, and the anti-infantry grenade launchers are not that great at all. For ground depression, that's kind of sucky. But yeah, I like it as a vehicle. Yeah, yeah, you can see the Tiger in T14, but at least for me, because lineups are one of the most underrated things in this game. I wouldn't play it as a first spawn at 5-3. And I mean, it's difficult because it's hard to say like, hey, don't play the vehicle, like play other vehicles. Like I can't assert that onto anyone. But at least for me, if I know I'm going to fight vehicles that I'll struggle to pen frontally, I won't play it. I'll play another vehicle in the lineup that's more suitable, like the Sherman. And it works fine for that. I mean, you can still knock out Tigers in the T14. I've done it. I think I did it in the video actually that I did. But it's not easy, not reliable. But yeah, I can see the line of thinking, but I mean, it's fine. It works. It's okay. Um, will we ever see better bomber cockpits? The difficulty is that they cost a bit too much for the value they give. In that a tiny amount of people use the cockpit for bombers across all modes. And I mean, obviously, you can say more people would if they were more detailed, but that's not really likely. We've had instances where some new vehicles have had cockpits, like like the Australian Beaufighter Mark 21, that didn't have a cockpit and got a cockpit from a user model. And I don't think the people looking in the cockpit are more numerous now at all. It's like, say, the example I go with is that my favorite bomber is the HE111. My favorite cockpit, I guess, is the HE111 cockpit. It's just really nice. Um, but not a lot of people play the HE111, and not a lot of people will then use the cockpit. So we're taking a tiny fraction of the player base, performing a tiny action to see it, and a bomber cockpit can cost the same, if not more, than a fully modeled fighter, a fully modeled like aircraft or tank. And so the reasoning is, would you rather make a highly detailed cockpit of an aircraft that barely anyone will actually see, or do you make a vehicle that everyone can potentially play and enjoy at a base level? Because bomber cockpits can't be enjoyed at a base level, in that if you're playing arcade or realistic, which are the more common modes in Sim, you don't need to use them, and that you're more at a detriment if you're using the cockpit in those modes, at least from my perspective, which makes it kind of tricky because obviously it would be great to have them. It's not impossible to make them, but they cost a bit too much. I mean, sure, I don't. I think it would be unfair to say that that's stinginess. It's just that if you're going to spend like 100 grand on 10 bomber cockpits or like 10 vehicles, you pick the vehicles because that's what more people are going to be able to enjoy. You can see the average price, I think, of the vehicles on the War Thunder wiki, the revenue share user program. If you were to make a cockpit of like what Gaijin can effectively pay for them, you can see a sort of an average value on there. But yeah, that's really why. Will the T14 ever go back to 4.3? If it stops performing incredibly well, maybe. But it's, from what I understand, still performing great. for what it is, and it's a really strong vehicle. Not the best in the up tiers, but not something to play at 5.7. You can still do it. The short stab works great. Yeah, not the most astute in up tiers, I guess. Brighton looks really bad. Yeah, I used to go to Brighton a lot. I had some relatives that live near there, but yeah, haven't been there for a while. It's a bit kind of scruffy as a place, but yeah, this is the thing. It's like it's more fun for the person playing it, but not fun to the people playing against it. And that's always like the thing you've got to look at. It's like if you're at like a 4-3 game and you're fighting 3-3 vehicles, it's like it's fun for one person, but not fun for 12 people. And it's always fairer to kind of, cater to the majority in that sense. Obviously, that's an unfair example because it's not going to be the case that you're constantly fighting 3-3s in a 4-7 game, 4-3 game, excuse me. But you know what I mean? It's not the way to look at it. But I agree with you. It probably was more fun at 4-3. I can't deny that, but you know. Um, yeah, Kyle, I can't disagree with that. But the reasoning is it's just that even in those modes, they're seldom used. A lot of them anyway. And so, even so, it would be great for the people playing it in that area. But the, I guess, resources can be better used creating another vehicle because in the sense of like the amount of people that this game has a lot of data. We can see exactly the amount of people who use the view in bombers for every single mode, and the cost efficiency of doing that is so low compared to adding a new vehicle in the game. And it's like the resources just aren't really there or can't really be justified for doing it on a wide scale. Um, so I don't disagree with you that it would be great, but the way the cockpits function are at least functional in exactly what they need to do. You can see the gauges, the the exterior views are exactly as they should be. They're just not detailed. The game can still be played while the cockpits are undetailed, so it's not exactly a detriment to active gameplay, just visual gameplay. And so creating, hypothetically, this is a number that I've made up. Do you kind of make, let's say hypothetically again, all these numbers I'm making up in my head right now, but they're not super far off, I guess. Do you spend like 12,000 on a really hyper-modeled vehicle that everyone has the potential to play, or a cockpit that maybe 100 people will see a month? And on that basis, for like an online free-to-play game, it's not a smart thing to do to pump that much money into a tiny minority area of the game. In the sense that it's like we haven't seen vehicles like the B-26 yet. It would be great to have it in the game, but that vehicle is not a priority because it doesn't fill a gap anymore. There are bombers that, like the Mitchell, the B-25, kind of fills that thing's role. Obviously, it's different. There are differences between them, but functionally, there's no need to do that. And I mean, it's always got to be careful with the resources you put in for that kind of thing. And I would love to see bomber cockpits. I love bombers. I think they're great. They're some of my favorite aircraft in the entire world. I would love to see them. But at the same time, from the perspective of, actually putting resources into more active areas of the game, it doesn't make sense from that perspective. And so, I can kind of see both sides, but for the health of the game and like actually adding new stuff in and, actually putting the resources into areas that actually have a more active impact is more valuable. I don't think it's ever not going to be that case. But I can see the reasoning on both sides. Absolutely. Um, let's see this one. Read. Um, do you believe the argument that if minor nations had more better and more frequent vehicle updates, that we played more? Um, yeah, I don't think so, really. I mean, a lot of the main nations are kind of more, well, they're more, I guess, established in that, a lot of people know more about German vehicles and they're more familiar, for example, than Japanese vehicles. Before playing this game, even though I had like a base level interest in tanks, I couldn't really name a single Japanese tank. I could probably, I think I knew probably like the Chi Nu, I think, something like that. But I didn't really know any of the others. So it's like I think people are less interested in those kind of more niche, obscure things than the more common stuff. And I think if they were more fleshed out within the reasonable nature they could be, um, they would of course like by I guess intention have more people playing them. But I don't think it would be that much. It wouldn't be a huge amount. I think so. I can see the argument, but I don't think it's as intense as people maybe think of. So yeah, I can see what that means. What the question is, and that yeah, I don't think it would be a huge, an absolutely massive increase. But that's just my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I don't know everything. I know some things, but not all of the things. Um, Lots of England discussion. I see. Very nice. Um, Read these. I'm trying to get everything. There's still lots of. Hang on. What's my phone doing? Uh, let's read some YouTube. Actually, why do APFSDS shells bounce off a barrel and do zero damage? Because of the angle. If they're hitting at such a kind of hyper angle, they're just going to ping off. The best thing to do is aim at a completely flat instance, like the corner, like the kind of ring of the barrel from the front and the flat side. In the middle, because of how it's modeled, you might do no damage if you hit in the middle, because it can kind of ping off, just because of how barrels are modeled. So it's kind of unreliable in that sense. But it's yeah, I can see what you mean. It can be tricky, but with a good shot at a good flat angle, it generally works fine. I think. Was your road coaster a Gaijin one? No, it's just a general sort of coaster. I think nothing like super interesting. I guess. Um, Comment. Not finishing that. Uh, Lots of very funny comments on YouTube. Thank you for that. I don't know why my voice is doing this. I've missed a lot. What have I missed? This is bad. Um, did the T14 armor get a nerf? Don't believe so. Should be exactly the same, from what I understand. Are we on an anti-London thing right now? I understand. I don't mind London though, but I think it's just because I miss it. I mean, I don't know. I like grey areas. That might sound very depressing, but I don't know. It's just sort of comforting. I like the UK for that. Probably a stupid thing to say, but come to Great Yarmouth, maybe. When I move back to the UK, I want to travel around a lot. I like little towns and that kind of thing. It's like their own little world. It sounds really pretentious, but I don't know. I like that. I like those places. Um, yeah. Stealth belt best for ARB? Sometimes. I like stealth a lot because it makes it harder for enemies to react. So you can sort of get a bonus from it. It alerts enemies late and it helps you. It gives you like a 1 second grace period to adjust your aim if you're hitting an enemy and if they're not aware of you. So I like stealth a lot for that. But some guns are hard to aim with stealth if you're not used to using them. So it's not like universally the best, but I like it. It's what I use on basically everything, unless there's like a really strong reason to not do it. Like some belts need like an AP round to work, and some stealth belts don't have them. So, you know, um, why up tier it in game? Because it's performing too well for its BR, so it goes up. Because 3.3 vehicles struggle with it. There's sort of the reason why it doesn't need to have an actual armor change for it to need its BR adjusted. It's just if it's performing incredibly well, there it is. And I mean, also partially because it had its stabilizer buffed. Same with all the Shermans. They've got like double their short stop stabilizer, and they didn't get a BR change from that. And I think it's a runoff from it, if I were to guess. So yeah, there are reasons. Uh, different question. What's your favorite song at the moment? Um, I don't know. What is my favorite song at the moment? I try not to listen to a song consistently because then I'll kind of my brain will lose its pattern function and stop enjoying it. What do I like right now? I could probably give you a couple of songs if that would be interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure if I have a strict favorite. Maybe I can give you a list if that would be interesting. I don't know. Can the Tiger H1 be uptiered? I can't kill it in the Churchill. Well, in all kind of fairness, it's an annoying thing for me to say, but the Churchill is it's a vehicle that kind of it's a lineup vehicle, you know, and at 4.3 it needs to be played with other vehicles that work better in up tiers. Like same with like the 4.7 lineup. It's like I wouldn't play the Church 7 at 5.7. I'd play the Avenger or the Firefly, you know, because the gun works better and the armor's less reliable, you know. So I think at 4.3 it's probably a good idea to not play it, but you know, the 4.3 is not a great lineup for Britain. I wish they had some more vehicles to fill that gap. But you can knock it out from the side. From the front, it's tricky, especially with AP. You need to sort of engage a Tiger very carefully in the Churchill. And go for the barrel shot, try and go through the turret ring if you can. From the side, the lower side is okay. That's generally, I think, where I would really go. But yeah, it is a struggle. I could admit that, you know, it's a hard pairing to engage. Um, yeah. Um, top 10, Oxy's top 10 songs. Uh, I don't know if people are that interested in that. I don't. Well, most people don't like the music I listen to anyway. It's a bit weird, which is not very good, I guess. But um, I'm currently stuck listening to Billy Joel. Well, Vienna's my favorite Billy Joel song. If that helps, I don't know. What sort of other songs do you like listening to? I like songs with lots of different genres, so maybe I can think of something. Um, how do I know if it's an up tier? It's the spawn cost of your vehicle. Like heavy tanks at you know they're if they're top tier, it's 160, then 140, then 120. Um, well, there's another one in between that, but yeah, you can see from the spawn cost, and you can kind of get it from that. So yeah, it is easy. Well, not easy. It's once you kind of learn the numbers, it's kind of easy to tell, and then you know what you should play based on that. It can be annoying though. Like I can absolutely see what you mean. Um, yeah, you just got a full dancer in the Churchill. Nice. The Churchill Mark III at 4.0 was probably one of my favorite vehicles in the game. I loved it. Like short stop stabilizer, really effective armor, great reload, decent performance of the gun, the improved 57 mil, really really good. I like it a lot. Very nice. Oxy enjoys rap. Lol. Yeah, I like some rap. Some rap's very very good. I think hating on one genre of music is just inherently reductive. Like for example, I don't like metal music, but I don't think it's objectively bad. It's just not something I enjoy. Same with everything, I guess. Um, mm, yeah, don't team kill stuff, dude. That's kind of gross. If there are other ways to kind of target frustration into other areas that are more, I guess, helpful and useful. Yeah. Yes, you will get auto kicked if you team kill too much. Don't do it. Up tiers won't get removed. No, not something that can really work. I'm afraid. I can't really get into Sabaton either. Really, I just don't. I think it's because I don't like music that is blunt like that. And Sabaton kind of, it's like Sabaton music to me is like describing something, and I don't like that in music. I like the vagueness to stuff. Um, so I can never really get into it at all. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think they're an awful band though. It's just for me, I don't like it. Obviously, I'm in the minority there because a lot of people do enjoy it, but you know, just how it works, and that's okay. I will look at some YouTube. What are you drinking? I'm drinking some tea and some powder nutrition thing. I don't know. I don't even know what this is. Although it'll kill my heart in a few years. I'm aging in double time. I've got that to look forward to in 5 years then. That's going to be great. Um, just looking through YouTube because I need to check on my phone because the internet's weird right now. Let's see. Forgive me. Can you make a video climbing the ranks of Chinese vehicles from War Thunder? Yeah, pretty. I mean, at some point, I think there'll be one. Don't know when, but there's probably going to be one at some point. Yeah, I would say so. Let's see. My eyes are going a bit. That happens if I look at the screen for too long. I just get a bit tired. It also happens if I drink lots of caffeine. The eggs in my vision just go black, which is not great. I don't know what that means. Something probably. Something not great, but we'll see. Anyway. Advice for the BMD4? I haven't played it yet, so I can't really surmise much advice. I mean, play it very similarly to the BMP3, I think. But, the other differences are kind of, there's not really too many, I guess. I think the ATGM reload is faster. But functionally, they're very, very similar. So I'd probably play it in a very similar way when it comes out. But I haven't played it yet. And I don't like kind of pretending I can magically know how something works when I haven't touched it yet. So I have to wait for a bit, unfortunately. Why do I always play consistently worse whenever I activate a booster? I think a lot of it's probably something you don't want me to say, but a lot of it is confirmation bias. I think when you've activated it, you kind of approach the game in a different way. You're more focused, you're more aware of what you're doing, and so you will kind of pick up on things that are going wrong more. I find that as well. It's like, oh, I'm just playing generally like ARB, and I get to altitude and there's like 3 109s above me. It's like, oh, that sucks. If I have a booster and that happens, I'll be like, oh, that's typical because I have a booster on. And I think it's just the way that we kind of process what happens makes it seem like that's the case. Um, I used to activate a lot of boosters when I was getting more SL. I don't really notice much difference. Sometimes maybe, but there's no system involved with it. I mean, I work on some parts of the game like that. And I mean, if there was some kind of magic booster up tiering system, I would know about it. And it's not in the game. But yeah, I think it's just a psychology thing. You're under more pressure, you'll make more mistakes, that kind of thing. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I think just from my perspective, that's how I see it. Yeah, I think it's difficult to kind of find I guess a useful answer to that from my perspective. But yeah, I think that's probably why. Should get it checked? I don't do that. That ain't me. I don't really like getting things checked, which is really bad. But I'd like, if there's something wrong with me, this will sound like, this will annoy people, and it annoys me as well. But if there's something wrong with me, I would rather not know. I would just rather ignore it because I don't want to deal with dwelling on issues like that, which is bad. But yeah, I just don't, I ignore those things. Bad character trait, but it be me. And, we're made of lots of different positive and negative integers and that kind of thing. So just not one of my strong points, I guess. But yeah, I think it's always the case with like if you're under pressure. Like if there was a system that like if you had like 5 boosters in reserve, and if there was like a button to randomly activate one, maybe there was like a 20% chance to activate a booster, and the game didn't tell you if that was happening, you'd probably get more out of them. I would have thought. That could be kind of fun. I don't think that would ever come into the game because it's like a weird thing to have. But just in terms of like feedback psychology, it probably would be better. Maybe that could be nice, but I don't think it'd ever happen. But what does this mean? why Blue Water Naval is so slow. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean if the vehicles themselves are slow? They work. They move at their historical speed. It's faster in World of Warships because those vessels are artificially quick. Um, so yeah, if you compare those two, it is slow, but that is how the vehicles actually, how fast they actually are in real life. So it do be working that way. Um, can every country get one squadron vehicle for every tree? Probably at some point. Um, I don't know if and when they will. I think squadron vehicles are always planned. There's probably a lot more to come, but I don't know if like there'll be more for those particular nations and that kind of thing. I hope so though, 'cause that would be nice. I agree. Um, the option for hiding the booster activated thing, yeah, maybe. I think it probably wouldn't have a negative to it if it was optional, but it's yeah. Um, I think that could be kind of fun for people. That would certainly I think help to quell some of the feedback and that kind of thing. Yeah, I would like to see that. Um, sorry, I'm missing loads of these and lots of big comments as well. I'm missing. Um, also YouTube as well. Sorry, YouTube. It's difficult because the internet's garbage. Where is the tea? Here it is, sis. The tea is here. You can't see it. If I tilted it, it would spill everywhere. I don't trust myself to not do that. Um, what tea you drank? It's like some kind of off-brand breakfast tea, I think. Germany doesn't have much like tea, like quintessential tea. It's mostly herbal stuff, which is not like awful, but it's not as nice, I guess. So yeah, bit weird, but it's okay. It's perfectly drinkable. I don't mind it. Um, let me see. Why is repair cost so high? I mean, it's not high for a lot of vehicles. For some, it is. It's pretty high, but it is relative to performance, and as well with vehicles that have like free ammunition, it's higher as well. Like for example, the Lorraine, high repair cost, it performs very very well. Its ammunition is also entirely free, so that plays a part too. There's lots of factors that go into it, but it does, it is a limiting factor in that sense. And it's not designed for like, just to bleed money. It is a balancing tool in and of itself, and it does function from the statistics that come from it in how consistently a vehicle is played relative to the cost of the repair. So I can see that. I can't deny it's frustrating, but I think what's the best way of wording this? Because I don't want it to come across pretentious or anything. I think if you play the game in such a way that is constantly bleeding money, it's good to play other areas. And I think this game works at its best when you're playing the lower tiers where everything's a bit kind of more chill. The premiums are kind of fun. There's not like a high repair cost. You can play and get a lot of SL with a good lineup. And if you're confident in the game, you can get like 60 to 100k a game with like two low tier premiums, like tier three, not super expensive, and you can get a lot of lions that way. And I think playing around and especially like accumulating lions in the lower tiers, playing different stuff, is when the game gets the most fun. And I think if you're constantly hammering out like high tier competitive vehicles with high repair costs, it's just bound to happen by just sort of definition, I guess, of how the game functions. Obviously, it's not fair of me to sit here and say you're playing the game wrong. Play it my way, and it'll be better. I'm not saying that. But from my perspective, that's what I do to nullify that problem. And like, sure, I'm good at the game. I don't think I ever really lose lions if I play. But in any case, I make a steady stream of lions by playing all over the place, low tier, high tier, mid, whatever. And I think by focusing and playing the game that way, I basically never lose out on lose lions. And it's like it's unfair. I can appreciate that I don't want to be in the position and say play the game my way and it'll be better, because who am I to tell you to how to play the game? You want to play it in the game that well, excuse me, you want to play it in the way that you get the most enjoyment from. But all I can really offer is that this is how the game works, and from my perspective, that's what I do to maintain my enjoyment and maintain a balance of lines. Um, whether that's a sufficient answer for you, I can't say. But you know, your criticism on it being frustrating is valid. But I think if you adjust in how you play, it works. I think the biggest thing for this game, I think, in enjoying it is adapting. If you refuse to adapt, you'll have a bad time constantly. Whether that's your mindset, whether it's the vehicles you use. It's like, if you play the Tiger every game and rush into close quarters and die over and over again, and you think the tank is bad because you're doing that over and over again, then that's not the vehicle's fault. That's you for not adapting to the playstyle. There's ways to kind of, well, adapting. I think there's loads of ways to talk about this in terms of the game, whether it's well, anything really. It's like if you do the same thing and it doesn't work constantly, it's not the game's fault. There are better ways to approach it constantly. And I think for me, that's just the biggest thing with it. It's adapting. And it's like the same with me. It's like if say for example, like if I hate helicopters, I'll play another area of the game that doesn't have a helicopter issue. And because I can do that, I have like kind of a perpetual enjoyment with the game. Again, I don't want to sit here and say, if this part of the game annoys you, just don't play it, because that makes it sound like I'm sweeping an issue under the rug, which is not the case. Of course, it's like not objectively an issue, but you get what I mean. I just think that, all I can really say is that this is how I approach the game to get the most enjoyment out of it. Whether you want to do that too or not, okay. But it helps me, and I think it would help other people too. And it's like, even for simple things, like when tanks first came out, I didn't really have any interest in tanks. I thought planes were pretty. I like planes. I didn't really like tanks. It's just, not interested. I'll stick to planes. I even thought about buying some of the tank decals with GE because I would never, unlock them. But then I adapted when playing gameplay started getting a bit repetitive for me, and I got into tanks. And because of that, I had so much more of the game open up. It's like if you just play one thing, like one tech tree, one nation, you're only experiencing, I don't know, like 10% of what the game has to offer, even that, like not even that. And so adapting to more things, approaching the game in different ways, playing different stuff, that's how you get the most out of it. Really, really, really is. But it's not my place to sit here and say, approach the game in this way. I can't do that. And I won't do that. But that's how I see it. Spill the tea. I don't know if I'll do that. Maybe. I don't know what I would achieve. I don't think that would be very good for me. Plus, I'll have to clean it up afterwards. Tips for not crashing into the ground constantly. Go. What for? For aircraft, I guess. But what kind of aircraft? Why is the P-51H at 6.3? Because it's an incredibly competent aircraft. It works perfectly at 6.3. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be able to fight jets on their terms, but it's for what it is. It's really versatile, really functional, really just, well, good in general. I think I've never had any issues with it at 6.3, really. I love it for where it is. Not the easiest thing to use. Again, it's kind of easy to misplay, I guess, but it's got a lot going for it. Against props, it's, you have an advantage in every situation. And it's, yeah, it's really, really good at that. Really good for that. I like it. So basically get good? LOL? No. There are areas of the game that are easier to play, that you can kind of learn from. And I mean, I guess in some way there's like, part of it is a get good kind of thing. If it's like you're constantly playing something very competitive and not doing that well, and it's like, maybe improve. Because I mean, I think that's an issue that a lot of people have if they kind of speed run their way to top tiers and don't really get it. Because I think top tier works on the functionality of, and I always stick by this. I said this in my Russian tier, well, finale video that's 2 hours long on my channel. But top tier basically focuses on luck, reaction times, and map knowledge. And if you don't have map knowledge or reaction times, you won't do that well at top tier. And top tier has higher repair cost, it's more competitive, it's easier to get knocked out. you may need to practice that. And if you buy a top tier premium and play constantly at that tier while not playing a lot of the earlier areas of the game, it's going to be hard. So I think the game is always best experienced starting low and moving your way up steadily, because that way you learn the skills you need to kind of well, at least the base skills, map knowledge and reaction times, you'll learn steadily as you play. And starting from the bottom and working your way up is a great way to do that. And I think you miss the skills required to really be adept at top tier if you just rush your way through it. And that's why it's always good to take the game slowly and take it steadily, because you don't need to progress in this game. That might sound really stupid. Obviously, you want to get more stuff, but like, you can play, say, BR, like, I don't know, 5.0, 5.3 indefinitely and get a good experience of the game. You don't need to keep pushing. If it's something you're struggling with, if it's a vehicle that's hard to use or you're not really enjoying it, you don't need to play it consistently. And again, it's a difficult position for me to be in because I can't tell you to do that because it's not fair. But it helps, I think. And I think it really helps kind of feedback with this game if you take it slowly and you play stuff you like. Even with me, if I'm playing to record and a vehicle's just not working with you one day, I'll just stop playing it and play something else because it will just make you frustrated. And if a game is frustrating you, it loses its function as an activity. It's like a game is something to do to pass the time. It shouldn't become a job. If you're actively engaging with it and not enjoying it, then its purpose is lost. It's failed in its purpose. Whether you could argue that's the game's fault or whatever, go for it. But regardless, if you're doing something you're not enjoying with the game, then either stop playing for a while or play something else you like more. It's just as simple as that, I think. I really do. Worst OP summer and battle pass vehicles ever? That's not something you can assert as an objective. I like them. I don't think they're the best. Well, some of them are really good, some of them aren't. But yeah, I mean, that's a perspective you can have. That's fine, but I don't agree with it, so it becomes moot in that sense. Yes. Yeah, I guess loosely you can say that's an insanity thing, but it becomes like that kind of dice roll, You don't want to end the night on a bad game. You want to keep rolling and rolling and end on a high, because otherwise, you'll go to bed angry. That's not good. And so, I can see, doing it over and over again in some ways, especially if you want to stop. But literally, like, I mean, sure, it takes a lot of like balance of your ego to like stop on a high, or no, stop on a low, excuse me, because that kind of hurts in some ways, I think. But if you can kind of master that and get over it, you can beat this game. You can beat any game if you do that. Same with any competitive game. It's like, even like, I'm not trying to link the two, but it's the same with gambling. You want to end on a high, and if you don't, you want to keep rolling. I'm not trying to say this game is like gambling. It isn't. It's just an easy kind of analogy to kind of link. But it takes a lot to kind of just stop if you're not enjoying it, and that's what you got to do. It's really what you got to do. It helps. It really does. What is your theory about the Einstein theory of relativity? I can't really have much of an opinion on it because I'm not well versed enough in it to make an informed opinion, really. I think it's cool, but don't know much about it. Let's see. I play planes terribly, so I just do. But well, I mean, that's the thing. It's the same with tanks. When tanks came out, I was terrible at them. I was awful at them. But I played them for years and years and years, and now I'm pretty good at them. And I think it's the same thing to practice. For aircraft, I always say play a hybrid aircraft, like one that can, to a degree, turn fight and boom and zoom, like energy fight. It can do both. If you play an aircraft that's just good at maneuvering, you lose a playstyle. And it means that in any situation, your aircraft can do something. And so that's a good thing to practice with because you're learning the different skill sets in tandem, and that works really well. So try playing a hybrid fighter. That's what I would do. And that works pretty well, I think. At least from my perspective. That's what I'd recommend. I mean, it's really tricky, especially for AirRB. It takes a lot of time to kind of get to a degree of kind of, I guess, I guess comfort in what you're doing, but it can be tricky. I can respect that. But yeah, with some practice, you can absolutely get the good experience of the game. LOL, facing tanks with the 76 American cannons. The 76 American cannon is one of my favorite guns in the game. It's incredible. You just need to know where to aim. Some vehicles it really struggles against, but if you know you're fighting vehicles that you'll struggle against, you need to adapt where you're playing. I love the gun. Well rounded, versatile. I can't really fault it. Obviously, it doesn't have the best penetration in the world, but it's fantastic for what it is. Great one shot potential. If you can get through anything, you'll cripple it. Short stabilizer on the tanks that uses it. Brilliant. I love it. The platforms the gunners are on are kind of easy to misplay, I think, but it's a fantastic gun. I really love it. One of my favorites in the game. Yeah. Bye bye, Blitz. Hope you have a nice day or night or whatever. I've missed a lot of comments again. I keep going so fast. Apologies. Something. I've missed a lot. My bad. Yeah, I think the Type 93 is being worked on in terms of its missiles. There's some issue with it, I think, but yeah, I think it's not, I guess ignored in any way that, it's not hyper functional in that sense. So I think there's going to be some more work on it, but I don't know. I can't really speak to the particulars of that. But yeah, I think so. It's probably going to be improved, I would say anyway. Uh 7 years, the player base is an increase. The player base has increased a huge amount. It consistently does. This is like a weird perpetual, I guess, social lie people have about their player base declining. In the last few years, it's never declined at all. It's perpetually increasing. Like I know the amount of people that play this game daily, in total. The average, the growth or whatever. It's perpetually growing, and it's a weird thing people make up. Either the people make it up in anger, or just because it's something they perceive, but it's not the case at all. And I don't know why people keep saying this, but it's just not true objectively. If you just go on the Steam numbers, sure, it's going to take dips, but the majority don't play on Steam, so it's just strange, I guess. Hmm. It's also very disingenuous to say that they don't want to change anything. That's not true at all. Again, another weird thing people like to say. Is the stream buffering? Yep, I think Twitch is buffering a little bit. There's some internet issues, I think, but Anyway, I think I've overstayed my welcome a little bit here. Hang on, I will just zoom over and check the Twitch. Yep. Okay, there's some weird issues going on with it again. The bitrate is capped at 5K, and yet the bitrate on that other PC is now 9K, which is very strange. But yeah, I don't know. Twitch might be a bit scruffy right now, but hopefully not. Hopefully it will stop soon. But yeah. Anyway, I'll probably end soon anyway, but we'll see. It depends. What have I missed? Why is Twitch slowly getting slightly more toxic again? I don't know. I mean, this is a good, well, not really a good in general, sort of in a universal way. But it's people come here to vent frustrations. If they're angry, people will think, saying something hurtful about the game will, patch the ego up a bit. It's not going to upset me. It's, not going to hurt the game if you say something bad. If you want to vent frustration, go for it. I don't mind being the, the receptacle of that. It's part of my job, I suppose. As long as it's not objective abuse, But sure, I mean, if it makes you feel better about yourself, you're welcome to do that. It just won't help much in the long run for anyone, you or me or community or anything, I might stay a bit. It looks like it's stabilizing now. I don't want to overstay my welcome here. I worry about that a bit sometimes. Otherwise, it just becomes quite boring, you know. So, British tanker, what are you struggling with right now? The KTH and what vehicle? I can try and help. KTH isn't overpowered. It's very capable, very good, but it's not broken at all. Um, but against some vehicles, it's hard. I can respect that absolutely. Can you please post some song recommendations in tonight in the music box? I can. I spent a lot of money for a vinyl today of a really of an old album I really liked. Um, very raw album. I do that sometimes. I buy things I can't afford because it forces me to well, it makes me work harder on stuff. Like if I spend I don't know a few €100 or whatever on something that like a luxury for me, it's like Christ, I need to really justify that now, and I work really hard because of it. And I think that's good for me. So I bought that, and I'll post a song from that later. I guess might do that. Internet might be stabilizing a bit. Um, sorry, British. It doesn't quite work that way. I wish it did, but there's nothing I can do. Uh, but yeah, what are you struggling with the KTH? I'm here to help you. Let me know. I can try. Um, uh, Nanuk or Nan UK. Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. Um, it'd feel really self-serving of me to read it out loud, but I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, and it means a lot to hear things like that. I mean, with how this community is and like online communities in general, the amount of positive things I hear is very slim, but it's always appreciated. But that's okay. I don't expect that. This is not exactly going to be a positivity soup. It's always going to be you know parts from either side. People will always come here and vent their frustrations in unhelpful ways. That's just how it works, and that's okay. I think you know it's helpful for people sometimes. Not the best, but in terms of short term, it's okay. It's okay. Cent Mark 1. Yeah, I can appreciate that. It will struggle against the KT. You can't go through the front plate. You can at close range go through the lower plate to disable the transmission, but it's unreliable. You're mostly going to want to go through the turret cheeks. It's a difficult shot. It is a difficult shot. But if that tank has its turret facing slightly away from you, you can go through the side of the turret as well. And that helps a lot. That is more reliable for me. But yeah, I can appreciate it's a hard matchup to make. But I think the Scent on its own is not a great vehicle to main. Because you're going to see 6-7, 7-0 games, and the Scent doesn't have much backup. You've got the Comet, you've got the Challenger. They're fine, but they're not amazing for the BR. And I think really, if you're struggling against the KT that much, I would probably go down a bit and then make another lineup with some of the higher tier vehicles, because the Scent, it will struggle on its own. You lose the Scent, you're at a disadvantage. And so I can appreciate that. I would love to see the UK get some more tanks around that BR bracket, because they do need some more for backups. I cannot disagree with that at all. But for the KTH, you might need to get a bit closer, because that thing works great at range, and you want to, be able to hit the weak spot more effectively. You can't break through the front plate with the Saber on that gun really at all, unless you would have like a perfect angle. Turret face, right side of the cannon from facing it, or the over-angled turret, if you can see that. Try and engage closer, makes the weak spot easier to hit. And if that doesn't help at all, I'd probably adjust your lineup so you're less likely to see one of those vehicles. That's probably what I would do. What's the point of complaining so badly about the game and then not offer any suggestions or idea of how they think it should be fixed? Because people don't care. People aren't saying the game is awful because they want it to be better. They're saying it because they're annoyed. And they think that typing it out kind of, it's like a weight's lifted if you do that. It's why people go on the internet and say horrible things, It makes you feel better. It patches your ego. It's like, if you get beaten and you get beaten and you get beaten, not physically, obviously, like with a game, you're going to want to, hurt something that's beating you, hurt the person that's beating you. And, I am the most visible person to direct, I guess, anger towards this game towards? Because, Gaijin is in this sense, it's like an idea rather than a person. So to kind of save, make yourself feel better, people are going to come here and try and, do the same thing. It's how people work, I think. I'm not trying to say I understand people at this level. It's pretentious. I'm not exactly the highest psychology human in the world. I'm not trying to do that, but it's how online games and communities work. People don't say these things about the game and the community because they want it to be fixed. They want to say it to, feel a bit of relief from like the frustration they're feeling. It's just venting frustration. And I think if everyone saying those things is honest with themselves, that's what they're doing. Obviously, they want the game to be better. Everyone does. No one wants the game to be worse, but it's not the intention. And at the same time, players in general, I think, don't have enough information to make informed decisions on how to improve this game. And I don't say that to hurt the intelligence of anyone suggesting things. It's just, there are things I thought would improve this game before working here, and now that I know all the information about the game that I do, those decisions, those applications, new things to go into the game wouldn't work as well, because I know how the bad impact they would have. And I always butcher this quote, but there's a quote from oh Christ, who is it? I'm not going to repeat the quote because I'm going to get it wrong. There's a really good quote about, players. It shouldn't be a player's job to sort of suggest fixes for a game. The best thing a player can do is say, hey, this isn't fun. I don't like this. Game should be fun. It isn't. And the developer then can take that and say, okay, why? Because if a part of your game isn't fun, it can mean anything. It can mean so many things. And they can kind of look into the details and like why that is. Maybe the controls are bad. Maybe it's a particular vehicle or something that's not working. Maybe that's the issue. But there are so many little things that go into a game like this that not having the wider perspective on everything, everything that goes on behind the scenes, it's almost impossible to have an informed opinion on what to do. And I don't say that to say, hey, you're wrong because you're dumb and don't understand. I'm not doing that at all. But I can just appreciate that from the perspective somebody like a player has to a complex game like this, there's no way to really make the best informed decision you can with a lack of information like that. And it's hard. But to go back to the initial point, it's, people are frustrated. That's it. And that's okay, part of my job. It's always part of my job, but that's just how it be. I've missed a lot of comments because I said lots of things, and I will go back to it. This is I can see. Okay. No constructive suggestions. It is not the fault of the player base if Gaijin constantly blocks comments on topics on the forum. They don't always do that at all. Some threads will be locked if they reach their dead end or, a conclusion that is not going anywhere. It's disingenuous to say the entire forum is locked when someone makes constructive suggestions. It's basically never the case at all. If someone makes a suggestion and it's like, that can't work, sorry, then it's going to get locked. It's not because nobody wants to hear it. It's just because it doesn't work. And it's the thing I always say. It's like a lot of players, I think, hold this perspective that it's like, if my feedback isn't implemented, it's ignored. It isn't. Part of my job is collecting feedback. I know it goes to the right people because I see the comments they make on the suggestions. And, if the developer looks at your suggestion and says, nope, this won't work for whatever reason, then that's fine. Because, at the end of the day, it's their perspective. As a player, I think, maybe this sounds mean or whatever, but, I don't say this to you or anyone, but I'll just address it as you because it's easier. It's an easy way to say it. It's like, your suggestion is not objectively good for the game. Everyone approaches this game in such a different way, in such a varied way. The way I play the game is probably different to how lots of people play the game. There are things I think should be adjusted based on how, I interact with the game that other people would really disagree with. Balancing vehicles, for example. It's so varied and so kind of, different for you and everyone. Your perspective is not necessarily, the best one there is. And so, everything that everyone says is not going to just be added to the game. Constructive criticism is not necessarily valid if it doesn't work. In the same way that you can paint constructive criticism saying the Tigers should be 5-0, that can be constructive criticism, but not good criticism. Those are not synonymous things, and so it's a kind of disingenuous way to paint the issue that you've made up here. Not say you specifically, but in general, everything is listened to within reason, unless it's like something that you know the team that takes suggestions and feedback onto the developers can filter stuff out if they know it's not very good as a suggestion. Like, down tiering vehicles that obviously don't need to be down tiered. That's not going to be forwarded because it's going to be ignored because it doesn't, it's not a good suggestion, There's so much more to it than I think what people not sort of give it credit for, I think. See, this is one that I think I like making a comment on. Winter Soldier, I've noticed much shorter queue times than NA. Do you think we will see a max min BR games of 0.7? The question I always kind of give to people when people say about this is no, on the surface, I don't think it's an objectively terrible thing to do. But imagine that you never get up tiered ever again, and what that means for every vehicle in the game. If every vehicle in the game never gets up tiered ever, you'll never get a full up tier. The amount of vehicles that will have to be rebalanced would be staggering, because some vehicles will become incredibly strong because they would never be at a disadvantage. Obviously, some things would be fine, but if you never get up tiered to a full state and you're fighting, especially like low tier heavy tanks, for example, they'll constantly be rolling all over things, and it would mean there'd be so many different issues that would come up from that. Like, sure, it would fix a problem, but it would create more problems. And is that necessarily a good thing? And that's the question the developers have to tackle. And from the surface as a player, it's like, and I'm not talking about you making the wrong assumption here, but it's like the cause to effect is that queue times aren't that long, therefore we can do this. And that seems like it's an objective good thing, but it creates problems that the player can't reasonably prepare for. And I think that's a lot of, I guess, the issue in every online game of suggestions and feedback. In that one thing may fix one problem, but it may cause others. There's so much to it. There's so much to it. I've missed so many questions. I'm sorry. Hello, Abigail. That's nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Why did Gaijin, as a collective, think a Buccaneer S1 was a good choice for a top prize? Probably because it wouldn't have much of a place in the main tree as a vehicle on its own, and the lower BR gives it more opportunity to work in the other lineups. It's a nice event vehicle. It's it has I think it has some different lineups, different ordnance options. It's not as effective, and it wouldn't have a huge amount of place in the main tree, so it works as an event vehicle. Sure, you can say it's not as interesting because, like, a top tier bomber, not that universally interesting to most people, but I mean, it would either not be in the game or be in the game in this way, is how I see it. I don't know if that was the, I guess, reasoning behind the team that kind of decided to put it into the game. I don't know what their reasoning was. That's how I see it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's just my perspective, and all I can really do is give you my perspective right now. And British tanker, I'm not sure off the top of my head. There probably are some. They've got a lot of interesting vehicles. Like, there's some other Centurion early models that could be added. More vehicles to have for backups and that kind of thing. There's more to include. I don't know what there would be, I guess. Yeah, like right now I probably couldn't give you anything satisfactory, but there's probably some stuff. Britain made a lot of cool stuff, cool vehicles. Flex muscles? I don't really have any. My arms are quite small. Probably won't do that. OMG can't find name? Thank you. No, I mean, I like that. That's why I kind of wanted to do this in the first place. I like difficult questions because I think if I'm in a position like this where I can be a part of the company and I guess like a face of the company and talk to the community, I want to talk about stuff that's contentious. People have issues with the game that are usually like not commented on. It's no use ignoring it. What's that going to solve? Sometimes I don't have a good answer. Fine. But I like it. I like what I can do here on this Monday thing. Obviously, it's not going to be the most entertaining thing in the world. It's just looking at me talking. not a great thing on its own. Maybe we can have some more gameplay in the background. I'll try that next week. I'll work on that. But yeah, I like doing it, and I'm. It's nice to hear you say that. I appreciate it a lot. Um, I really do. I really do. Okay. Uh, so I'm just trying to read comments here. Um, yeah. So British, you're right. There's a lot of light vehicles that could be added. Britain has a lot of cool light vehicles, and I really hope we see them someday. Um, hopefully we do. There's like some really cool ones. I'm with you on that. Absolutely, it'll be nice to see them. Hopefully we'll see them soon. Um, this is a comment that I can't really comment on. Any plans to fix shorten the grind? Forgive me, but there's nothing I can kind of take away from that. I don't know what your issue is. Like, sorry, I don't mean to be rude in answering that in that way. But what do you mean? Because there's nothing kind of objectively wrong with how it. I mean, sure, it gets slower, but it's a free to play game. That's how it kind of has to work as a product. Um, it could be better in some ways. I can't deny that, but at the same time, it's not objectively wrong. So to fix, like using the word fix, I can't really comment on that. So can you kind of give me a bit more information on what you think is the issue? Otherwise, I can't really comment on that. I'm afraid. I'm also working on comments like really far back, so forgive me. I might need to read some and skip some. Sorry. So this is the thing, Farah. Some things may seem wrong or bad, but they're not. They're sort of necessary, and I think that's another issue as well, because on the surface, some things seem like bad and like not good for the game, whatever, but they do fill a purpose for like the overall health of the game. They do fill a purpose, and the annoying thing is that the information that I can kind of see on like this side of the fence as to why things are a certain way, I can't share. It's confidential, and so it's like I can see why some things that seem contentious on the surface are in the game and why they have a place, and at the same time, I can't really tell you the meat of why I think that, and I can appreciate how annoying that is. I can't deny that's not annoying to kind of say like, hello, I can see why, I can tell you why, well, that's a bad way of putting it. I can say that you're wrong, but I can't tell you why. And that, unfortunately, has been my position with a lot of things. And I appreciate that that's really annoying. And I don't mean to, do that, but there's no other way I can kind of, I guess, talk about problems in some ways. That's kind of tricky. But um, yeah, that's all I can really say to that. But I understand. I understand what it's like. Um, let me see. Sorry, I did sort of miss I had a very long tangent. I missed a lot of comments. Um, what BR is the Buccaneer? I believe in the data mine it was 8.7. I don't know if it will stay that way. That's not an official thing. Maybe it will change. I don't know. But I think that's what it is right now. Although it might change before the vehicle's released. I can't say. Um, my right eye stopped. It's not working very well. Why is this? What are you doing? There you go. Better. Um, Sorry. Uh, I am reading slowly to try and find more comments because I've skipped lots of them. Forgive me for the silence. I'm just trying to catch up. Um, Study in the UK, Kyle. It's nice. I like the UK a lot. I will probably be back there one day. I don't know when, but I do miss it. There's something sort of quaint about the UK. And the thing is, like, I think a lot of people, and me especially, work a kind of strongly emotionally on nostalgia. And I like being around places that I grew up around. The UK has a lot of those. I can't really get that here. There's some kind of missing connection, I guess I have. So yeah, I really like the UK. I'll be back there soon, maybe. We'll see. Don't know. Ninja Lantern Shark. Lantern Sharks are cool, I must say. But yeah, if I can say something, I think that there are more constructive ways to give feedback, and like rants and that kind of thing. As I don't really agree with them in that sense. I think if any comments on the game are kind of objective, um, in terms of like constructive criticism, that's fine. But if there's like anger or whatever in a rant, I think it's useless because it's like for the developers or whatever, it's like I can't forward a comment like that. I mean, we have comments from sometimes from some content creators on our Discord that are very unkind, and it's like I can't forward those. Same with Reddit or the forum or whatever. Um, there are very easy and simple ways to formulate criticism in an objective way, and injecting kind of anger and passive aggressiveness in there does nothing but be unhelpful. It achieves nothing but maybe makes the person writing it feel a bit better about getting something off their chest. And that's great for them, but unhelpful for everyone else. Um, so I'm not saying you're doing that at all. I really appreciate your comment. Um, I appreciate you appreciate it, I guess. But yeah, there's better ways. There are better ways to formulate criticism and opinions always, always. And I think if more people were to do that, it will be a much nicer place to exist in a community like that. Much nicer. What's the purpose of simple bugs that make it into release of the game but stay for multiple months or years? Well, some things are difficult to fix. Really, it may seem really simple. But if you can give me an example, like I work quite a lot on forwarding bugs, so I know a fair bit about how they work. Sometimes it's that there are some bugs that are very difficult to fix. Some are difficult to find the cause of what actually causes them, um, and some just sort of are quite low priority in general, or are reported wrong. And so, like, the thing is, I know the tech team quite well, and they work incredibly hard, really, really hard. And their job is staggered a lot by the amount of people that report bugs incorrectly. And so that takes a lot of time out of their, workflow to they say basically like, hey, please do this in another way. We can't do this. We need more information, etc., etc. And so I think the way of kind of reporting some bugs is well, the system is not like perfect, I guess. But some bugs just aren't reported, and the developers are always hugely busy with everything. I don't think they ever really have like a dull moment. And so maybe there's something that seems obvious that they're just not going to be aware of because it's not a bug that's in their area of the game. And so it's always good to report stuff. I'm sure it's kind of time consuming. I can appreciate that and maybe a bit difficult, but always report it. I mean, there's no negative to it as long as you can kind of follow the guidelines and do it that way. I mean, it's going to get forwarded, and if it can be fixed, it'll be fixed. My nose is really itchy, by the way. This happens if I talk too much. It's because my voice is quite low. I think it kind of makes kind of vibrates the follicles on my nose, like the hair follicles, and it makes my nose itchy. It's quite annoying. I've missed so many questions. I'm sorry. Um, eh. It's probably been answered for you already, Winter Soldier, but rank has no factor. It's just a research thing. It's only BR that has an impact. Um, sorry. Hopefully this doesn't come through as a sound, but I need to scratch my nose. It's going to do my head in. How can I help with the game? All you can really do is just, I mean, try and make it a nicer sort of community to be in for other people. That's the main thing you can do. Just say nice stuff. Compliment people. Sounds stupid, but like, be nice to people. I don't know, that's like a really cringy thing to say. As a sort of thing people would call me a soy boy for on Reddit for saying, but just be nice to people. Like compliment people. And the thing is, right, this is the thing. If somebody kills you in a tank or a plane, but in a really good maneuver, a good shot, they'll be so surprised if you say congrats to that. And that might just make their day. Might sound stupid, but it's true. It really is true. And if you can do something like that in the game, it snowballs. It really does snowball. And that's a really simple thing you can do to just make it nicer. And as well, like, report bugs always. If you see something, report it. Because it's not ignored. It's only ever ignored. I mean, the thing is that right now, I think the tech team have a very long backlog. So it may take a while for your report to get seen, but it's not ignored unless it's a duplicate or reported so incorrectly that the time it takes to kind of say, hey, this is wrong is unjustified. So, you know, it can be tricky, but nothing that's done correctly is ignored. And I can basically promise you that from what I understand and how it works. Let me see. Sorry for missing all these comments. Arc. Actually, this might be a bug that I fixed. Well, not I fixed, but got fixed. I don't know if this is the same bug, if it's the bug you experienced, but that was caused. I think it's a runoff bug from what we kind of experienced before. Hang on 1 second. I need to respond to something. Bear with me. One sec. Just double checking something. If something was okay. But yeah, I think initially that was because if you flew directly away from the sun, um, the missile would lock, thinking you're looking at the sun, but it's like directly behind you. It may be a runoff of that that's affecting planes as well. I will talk to the dev that's in house right now about this, because he fixed this. The story, that's actually quite a funny story. I sent him a video of it and was like, hey, do you know how, like, what this issue is? And he said, yes. And he gave me this like paragraph of what everything was calling it, and it's like, yeah, my brain is big enough to understand all this. And literally like a day later at 4 a.m. he messaged me saying, yeah, it's fixed. They work really hard. I can promise you that. They really do work hard. I will double check this because it may be part of the same issue. Also, because we have one of the lovely members of the tech team watching, who said it's okay for me to confirm this for you. So one of the guys working on the tech team has just sort of told me that the backlog for bugs is cleared, and they've also fixed, got everything done, and that's fantastic. And they should be able to get to new bugs very quickly now. So if you are looking to report anything and you can follow those guidelines, please do it, because it's likely going to get seen to very, very quickly now. So thank you for that. I don't know if it's okay for me to say their name. I guess it's fine, but I won't anyway, just in case. Yep, each section has a template as well, which I think I did see as well, to make reporting stuff easier and like more simple to follow. So it is improved, no backlog. If you can report some stuff, please do, because it does nothing but help the game in every respect. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that, I guess. But yeah, do it. If you can do it, there's no drawback whatsoever. Sorry for my nose. Show me who called you a soy, but I'm going to fight them. Oh, the amount of... I don't want to say this to be self-deprecating, but the amount of vague insults I get from people is too numerous to count. But it's part of the job, you know. I mean, I didn't accept this kind of position expecting people to be nice to me. It's sort of, you know, it's to be expected in a sort of online game community, I guess. You know what I mean. Take care. Thank you. See, even if it's disingenuous, I don't mean to say it is. I appreciate it all the same, but be nice to people. It's so simple. And it might sound a bit like, I don't know, hippie or whatever. I don't care. It's just good. There's no negative to it. There's absolutely no negative to it. As long as you mean the thing you say, or even not. If you just want to say something to make someone else happy, I mean, it's good. I mean, we as a kind of social animal, we feel happy when we make someone else happy. It's why like you probably feel happy when you give someone else a gift and they like it, because it's how we work as a people, and we work best together when we're nice and helpful, and just do it when you can, if you can, and it helps. Thank you. This is really sweet to see. I'm glad. Thank you. Um, Sorry for missing some comments. I have to move through these some quickly. Yep, definitely. If it happens again, record it. Fill a bug report. Make sure to save your clog, the xdiag from your PC, like all your specs, and the replay as well. Client replay and server replay, if you can. That allows the team to cross-check. Definitely do this. I believe that's reiterated on the forum itself, if you don't remember the things I just said. But yeah, basically, effectively, the more information that you can forward, the better. Because sometimes the issue is quite vague. Even if it seems simple, like for that issue you're experiencing, what's happening is obvious, but the cause isn't. And so presenting something like that, with the most information possible, really useful. Really, really useful. So forward everything you can, and it will, well, obviously be better than the least. That was a bad sentence. What is my brain thinking? Terrible. Sorry. I don't play on PC, I play on PS4. Should I specify whether it's a classic, slim, or pro? I don't know. If the hardware's the same, I would imagine it doesn't matter. Maybe if the secret tech person watching is listening, they can give you or me an answer. I don't know if there's a difference. If it needs to be specified, it might be specified on the forum. But I'm not sure right now. Sorry for missing lots of comments. I need to check YouTube chat as well because I'm missing it because the internet's very strange. Right now, I will read some YouTube chat. Are there kind of people for junior developers? You can apply for a position. They're always hiring for developers. There's a application form on the website you can go through. Same for marketing. Any like marketing or junior marketing managers, you can absolutely do. Absolutely. Yeah. So right. Yeah. So for the PlayStation, there are guidelines on the forum that will basically tell you everything you need to do, all the information you need to give out, and how to explain the issue, etc., etc. So everything is on the forum, and it's probably better if you kind of go there and see it yourself, just so it's there in front of you, rather than me saying it and like maybe getting something wrong or misremembering. But yep. So everything in terms of like the console type, all of that is on the forum, as I clarified. So yeah, go for it. Everything is there. I have to say your support team is really funny, man. This could be a negative or a positive thing. What do you mean? I'm not sure what to respond to that without the context, but I can certainly try with more context, I guess. Okay. I think it's fine with me too. Wait, I'll just double check. I don't want to, speak up time. 1 sec. I think that's fine, but I don't know. I'm very conscious about saying something wrong or something I shouldn't. Sure. So if you want to help out on the tech team side of things, there's no sort of formal recruitment, but if you would really want to help out, if you message Scott, on the forum, you're welcome to do that. I don't know if it's necessarily the case of, you can get in right now, but if you would like to help more, you can do that. you have free time, want to help out the game, obviously it'll be universally appreciated. There's no downside of doing it. You can also get paid in G as well. So yeah, you can do that if you want, which is kind of cool. Well, Scaddy, I mean, if you've not reported somebody correctly, they can't do anything. It needs to be reported in game because that's how the system works. Like to for a moderator to be able to action a ban or anything, they need the trail in game for it to happen. So it needs to be reported in game. Otherwise, there's no way to track it. I mean, I have access to our tools. You can't really do it without reporting in game. So that needs to be done. You know, I'm sorry, I don't want to sort of be mean to you, whatever, but if you don't, you know, take the steps necessary to action something like this, you can't blame the support for not being able to help because they can only help if you know, report them correctly. And if you haven't done that, then they can't do anything. That's just how it has to work, I'm afraid. Um, you know, that's not their fault. So it needs to be done this way or not at all. It's just how it works. Yeah, British Tanker, I think there's some more changes, I think, in the future. I think it's something that the team are definitely aware of. I don't know if there's any like new thing on the horizon for that being changed, but I think it's something that in the long run is going to be help because I agree it's not a good system. Because the active player has no way to counter what's happening, which is bad. And yeah, I think it's going to be worked on. It's not an issue that's ignored in any case. I think there's it's being worked on. Absolutely. There's no server replay, but you can report the player in game in the battle using the the report function. You can do both. You can go through the TSS. You can go through whatever. There's ways to do it, and if you don't do it in the same way, I mean, I've reported people playing sim before, but you need to be in the same battle, otherwise it doesn't count. Yeah, it's just how it has to work. The system can't work sort of irrespective of the report function. This has to be that way. Um, yeah. Sorry, I mean, there's nothing else I can really say about that. Yeah, I've missed lots. Also, I'm nearly an hour over everything here. You drinking pink lemonade? No, I'm drinking some powder beverage. Sorry for missing out. Do you like hot chocolate? Yeah, I don't really get to have it much, but I do quite like it. It's a nice sort of treat, I suppose. It's a good thing to drink, sort of, um, I guess, in place of something else, like eating some chocolate or something. It's kind of nice for that. I like it. But I haven't had it for a very long time. I had someone that I used to know in the past who used to make me hot chocolate, and it was always very nice. It's never tasted the same since. So I haven't really had a hot chocolate after that. Kind of sad, I guess, but you know, have to go. Have a good one, Oxy, and everyone. Bye bye. Have a nice day or night. Thank you. I can't say anything about Naval EC right now. I'm not really at the forefront of the development, so I can't really, tease anything or anything like that. But I can sort of tell you that it is consistently worked on. It is just difficult to, it's a difficult mode to, I guess, work on just because of how large the maps are and how much needs to be rendered consistently, and it's tricky. But it's constantly being improved. I can tell you that at least. As far as the particulars go, there's not a huge amount I can kind of say right now, but it is being worked on. I will get YouTube up again. Lots I've missed. Mr. YouTube man, I'm reading the comments that I'm seeing. I can't see the YouTube comments right now because they're not coming up properly on this PC. You can insult me for it if you like. It'll just mean I probably won't answer your question. I can't see the question you've asked, but sorry, I guess. Typical. Yes. Yes. Lovely YouTube chat. My favorite. My favorite. I think we're nearly at a natural end to things now. It's nearly an hour after, well, an hour after schedule, I guess. 3 hours today. Yikes. And I still have more things to do, so I guess I'm leaving late, which is fine. Yeah. I guess we're at a conclusion, I suppose. So, yeah. Sorry, a bit out of words. I guess there's not really much else going on. And on that note, I guess I should disappear again for a week. Well, until Thursday, I guess. But for a while anyway. Uh, yeah, well, we just hit 3 hours. That's as good as time as any, I suppose. So, hello, Get Brutal. I'm just about to leave, but hi. Anyway, hope you're having a nice day. Um, I will go now, I think. Anyway, I will, yeah, hope you'll have a nice day, nice night. And I will see you all next Thursday with Mike to play some Enlisted? No, play some War Thunder. And probably play some of the new stuff as well. So thank you for being here. Sorry for not reading many YouTube comments. It's just the internet's gone weird today. I have nothing I can really do about it right now, which is unfortunate. But, you know, anyway, thanks all for being here. And I will see you later.